Chapter 51-24. Then do you have the confidence? Jiang Qin smiled. Nope. My grandpa said that after so many years, only less than 50 people were chosen to enter the ancestral land. It's not that easy to choose an ancestor. Maybe there will be one this time, maybe there won't be one. Ancestor Zaiming is an extremely terrifying potential stock. I don't dare to ask for too much. Everything will depend on the will of the heavens. Qin Lu smiled. Ancestor Zaiming, from now on, please bring out the Qin gazing stone. Qin Feng said solemnly. He grabbed with one hand and 9 palm-sized stones appeared in the void in front of everyone. At that moment, thousands of people from the Qin family raised their heads and looked at the so-called Qin gazing stone. The Qin gazing stone continued to spin. All of a sudden a bright light burst out. A drop of blood was sucked into the Qin gazing stone from the center of everyone's brows. The Qin gazing stone was initially milky white in color. After sucking in the blood, it became extremely bewitching, giving off an extremely terrifying feeling. The scarlet color was like a blood rose. Jiang Chen's expression was incomparably solemn. This Qin gazing stone had such a terrifying power of the stars. Furthermore, it seemed to be different from the power of the stars. Jiang Chen's expression changed. He could even feel his blood boiling in his heart. A drop of blood flew out from the center of his brows and landed on the Qin gazing stone. How could this be? Jiang Qin had not expected that he would not be able to escape from this. What exactly was this Qin gazing stone? To think that it could suck away his blood without him realizing it. Before Jiang Qin could recover from his shock, a blood-colored halo appeared above his head. The appearance of the halo instantly attracted everyone's attention. Not only him but Qin Lu's head also had a blood-colored halo that did not dissipate. It's our little friend Jiang Qin. How is this possible? Qin Feng's expression was solemn. He had not expected that the Qin gazing stone would actually choose our little friend Jiang Qin for their Qin family's ancestral worshipping ceremony. This was simply unimaginable. Lulu, is it really you? Qin Batian was incomparably excited. He had never imagined that his own daughter would also be chosen by the Qin gazing stone. This was the so-called ancestor selection. They would worship their ancestors once every 500 years, and it had already been over 4,000 years since anyone had obtained the Qin gazing stone's approval. But this time 2 people had actually appeared. What was even more unbelievable to the Qin family was that Jiang Qin was also chosen. Some were happy, some were sad, some were disappointed, and some were worried. The ancestors had chosen Qin Lu and Jiang Qin. At this moment everyone sighed. But at the same time they were happy for Jiang Qin and Qin Lu. From the beginning to the end, Qin Lu's mind was blank. She didn't think that she would be chosen by the ancestor. How great of an opportunity was this? Qin Lu didn't think much of it earlier, but when it really came to the top of her head, she was so excited that she was about to cry. Is it really me? Qin Lu still couldn't believe it and looked at her father. Her father nodded, looking even more excited than she was. His daughter had received the approval of the Qin gazing stone, and that was his glory. He was even happier than if he had received the approval of his ancestor. When Qin Lu looked at Jiang Qin, she couldn't believe it. How could an outsider like him be chosen by the ancestor selection as well? How did I get chosen? The people of the Qin family were shocked. Jiang Qin was even more shocked. He was just here to watch the show. But the people of the Qin family were pleasantly surprised. It was within their expectations. The strength of Jiang Qin was obvious to all. If not for him, their Qin family would have long turned into a dead man's valley, and Mount Dongqin would have turned into ruins. Little friend Jiang Qin, congratulations. You've obtained the ancestor selection of our Qin family. The choice of the Qin gazing stone will never be wrong. Our Qin family holds a grand ceremony once every 500 years. There will always be a selection of the ancestor selection. Whoever is chosen by the Qin gazing stone will be the chosen son of the heaven. That person can head to our Qin family's ancestral ground, Eternal Night Star, to receive a true baptism, to cleanse their meridians and marrow, and to be given the best cultivation resources. This is something that countless people dream of. Qin Feng said emotionally. Even though Jiang Qin wasn't a member of the Qin family, Qin Feng was still happy that he was chosen. To them this was an unparalleled glory. Does that mean that I still have to head to your Qin family in Eternal Night Star? Jiang Chen's gaze was a little complicated. What the hell was this? He was just here to watch the ceremony. Why was he chosen to be the chosen son of the heaven? Seemed like the Qin family was really thirsty for talent. Jiang Qin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. At this moment, Qin Lu was hugging Jiang Qin tightly. Her face was filled with excitement. Big brother Jiang Qin. I've obtained the recognition of the Qin gazing stone. We've all passed. We've all passed. Qin Lu was crying tears of joy. At this moment, there were only traces of tears left on her face. After a long time she finally let go of Jiang Qin. I'm sorry big brother Jiang Qin. I lost my composure a little. Qin Lu pouted her lips. However, the excitement in her heart was still hard to conceal. Indeed, he's our benefactor. To think that he has obtained the recognition of the Qin gazing stone as well. That's right. This is our pride. If our benefactor can head to our Qin family's ancestral ground to cultivate, that'll be our Qin family's repayment. That's right. This time around even Qin Lu has obtained the recognition of the Qin gazing stone. This means that the days of our Qin family are getting better and better. Everyone was talking at the same time. Their faces were filled with joy. No one had expected that two people would be able to go to the Qin clan's ancestral land to cultivate this time. To Qin Lu, it would be the happiest if she could stay with big brother Jiang Qin forever. The two of them could be together again. Although Qin Lu hadn't said much, her feelings for big brother Jiang Qin were sincere. The heavens and earth could bear witness. This so-called treasure of the Qin family should be the Qin gazing stone. Jiang Qin realized that the Qin gazing stone seemed to be connected to him through some kind of connection. It was highly possible that it was the drop of blood between his brows. Little friend Jiang Qin, our Qin family's ancestral ground is on the eternal night star. It's the second astral realm in the Sky Tyrant cosmic realm, just below the Sky Tyrant cosmic realm. There are cosmic cloud states in our ancestral ground. The Qin family attaches great importance to the heavens chosen by our ancestor. You can go to our ancestral ground. You definitely won't be disappointed. Qin Feng said seriously. Jiang Qin nodded, but at this moment his heart was beating like a drum. The statue of the Qin family's ancestor had stopped moving. The 7 Qin gazing stones returned to the statue. The other 2 Qin gazing stones appeared in the hands of Jiang Qin and Qin Lu. The people from the Qin family's ancestral ground will usually come to pick you up within half a year. During this time stay here and cultivate well. Chapter 51-25. Family leader. The Qin family's ancestral ground is a place for us to cultivate. If we let Jiang Qin go, wouldn't we anger the Qin family? Yes, family leader, if we decide on our own, it would be bad if the Qin family isn't happy. Would they cancel our spots? It's really hard to say. Jiang Qin isn't a member of the Qin family after all. What they said is not without reason. Patriarch, why don't you say something? The elders were serious. This wasn't a joke. No one could guarantee that the ancestor of the Qin family wouldn't be furious. After all, those who went before were all members of the Qin family. However, Jiang Qin wasn't related to the Qin family. Qin Feng's eyes flashed. He wasn't going to hold back now. Little friend Jiang Qin is our Qin family's great benefactor. Even if our ancestor didn't choose Jiang Qin today, the ancestor of Qin family wouldn't just sit back and do nothing when we send him to our ancestral land. Furthermore, little friend Jiang Qin has saved millions of lives in Mount Dongqin. There's no need to talk about this. The ancestor's decision proves that the ancestor's choice was right. If Jiang Qin doesn't have the right to go to the ancestral ground, who does? Qin Feng's righteousness reached the clouds. No one dared to speak at this moment. Qin Feng was right. If it wasn't for Jiang Qin, how could they be standing here talking? To them, their ancestor gave them life, but Jiang Qin gave them rebirth. They didn't dare to hesitate at all. Qin Feng's words echoed everyone's thoughts. They were just confused, but they didn't dare to question Jiang Qin at all. Even a half-step cosmic cloud state was defeated by him. The Qin family couldn't afford to mess with such a being. They were worried, but Qin Feng stood his ground. No one dared to question him anymore. I have an idea. Father, since everyone is worried, why don't we betroth Lulu to little friend Jiang Qin? If that's the case, aren't we a family? Qin Batian laughed. Instantly, Qin Lu's expression became extremely ugly. The redness on her face could not be described with words. She was so embarrassed that she wanted to find a hole to hide in. Father was too daring, wasn't he? In front of her, he actually said that he wanted her to marry Jiang Qin. This was too embarrassing. Jiang Chen was also slightly taken aback as he glanced at Chen Lu. Chen Lu bit her red lips with a bitter expression on her face. Yeah. Why didn't I think of that? My little friend Jiang Chen, are you willing to marry my granddaughter? I watched her grow up and you two are good friends. You should know what kind of person my granddaughter is. Most importantly, the two of you are too compatible. It's like a match made in heaven. In all these years, the two of you are the only ones who have the opportunity to cultivate in the Qin clan's ancestral ground. Moreover, you're together. This is an opportunity that no one can compare to. Qin Feng slapped his head and said. Qin Batian nodded repeatedly. Yes, yes, yes. The two of you are really a match made in heaven. As long as the two of you get married, won't you be a part of our Qin clan? Won't you be able to enter the Qin clan's ancestral ground officially? The two of you will definitely add a great color to our Qin clan's ancestral ground. Facing her father and grandfather's continuous attacks, Qin Lu's face was as red as an apple. Jiang Chen smiled bitterly in his heart. It wasn't that he didn't like Qin Lu. Who wouldn't like such a beautiful and understanding woman? However, he was here to find his son. Moreover, Luo Ying had just left and he was already so close to Qin Lu. Wouldn't that be too disappointing? Qin Lu seemed to be able to see Jiang Chen's dilemma. Although she hoped that she could be with Big Brother Jiang Chen, she didn't want to see Big Brother Jiang Chen in a difficult situation. Father, grandfather, the two of you shouldn't blindly get involved. Big Brother Jiang Chen has always treated me like his own little sister. Qin Lu said with a smile. She couldn't hide the disappointment in her eyes, but she wanted Big Brother Jiang Chen to calm down. Since that's the case, forget it. However, I still feel that the two of you are a match made in heaven. Little friend Jiang Chen, no matter what, when we go to the Qin clan's ancestral ground in the future, you have to help me take care of Qin Lu. Otherwise, I won't forgive you. Qin Batian said with a smile. Jiang Chen nodded and murmured. Qin clan's ancestral ground. He was a little hesitant. Right now he was going to look for Feng, De Huang and Luo Ying. For a moment he was like a headless fly not knowing where to go. However, it seemed that the cultivation in the Qin clan's ancestral ground wasn't ordinary. This time he might really have to go and take a look. Qin Lu looked at Jiang Chen with anticipation as if she was waiting for Jiang Chen's promise. Alright then. Since that's the case, I have to thank the Qin clan for their kindness. I will take good care of Qin Lu. Jiang Chen had a solemn expression on his face. He nodded and gave Qin Lu a deep look. At this moment Qin Lu had already left. Jiang Chen knew that Qin Lu would definitely be very sad. Her eyes were filled with love when she looked at him. However, it was already too late to take back what had been done. He didn't want to hurt everyone again. In the end, his destiny was to wander the world. Luo Ying's departure was filled with sorrow. He didn't know where she was now. He also didn't want Qin Lu to become the second Luo Ying. As the sun set in the west, Qin Lu sat on the peak of Dongqin Mountain, looking at the sunset. Her eyes were filled with sorrow. She was infatuated with Big Brother Jiang Chen. Unfortunately, the goddess had a dream and King Xiang had no heart. The two of them seemed to be like parallel lines that would never intertwine. In the past, when she saw the relationship between big sister Luo Ying and Big Brother Jiang Chen, she was very envious. Now Qin Lu was also slowly falling in love with Big Brother Jiang Chen. However, his heart hadn't opened to her. Qin Lu was a little disappointed. Perhaps she wasn't outstanding enough. Why are you here alone? Are you so unhappy that you can't enter the Qin clan's ancestral ground? Jiang Chen's voice appeared behind Qin Lu. Qin Lu's body trembled. She turned around and smiled brightly at Jiang Chen. She didn't want Big Brother Jiang Chen to see her in such a sorry state. Loving someone might be a lowly thing, but she only wanted to know that it was enough. Being lowly in love didn't mean that one had to live lowly. Big Brother Jiang Chen. You're here. I just miss this place a little. In half a year we'll leave this place. When we enter the ancestral ground, I don't know when we'll be able to return. Those who entered the Qin clan's ancestral ground to cultivate didn't want to come back. Although Tianqin Star is considered a relatively developed star field in Sky Tyrant Star Field, it's nothing compared to the Qin clan's ancestral ground and Sky Tyrant Star boundary. Qin Lu sighed. Chapter 51-26. People will always change. They're in their prime and their strength is at its peak. Naturally, they won't miss home. Especially those powerful people. The more ambitious they are, the greater their vision. At that moment, the Qin family's ancestral land will be their home. Jiang Chen murmured. That's right. That place is also home. When they have their own home, who wouldn't want to have a strong home as their backing? Qin Lu said with a bitter smile. People have their joys and sorrows. The moon has its waxing and waning. Jiang Chen said indifferently. He had already seen through the joys and sorrows of life. From the saint origin world to the mortal world, the immortal world, the divine world, the three realms reincarnation, the 100 classics and the vicissitudes of life. Jiang Chen's experience was far beyond their imagination. Looking back, home was long gone. Home was only in the hearts of their loved ones. Feng, when will you go home? Jiang Chen couldn't help but feel a little melancholy. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. Both of them were very emotional and helpless. There's still half a year before I go to the Qin family's ancestral land in the eternal night star. I want to take a look at the Tang of the East. That's the hub of the entire Tianqin star. I want to find Feng, I don't know if I can find him there. Jiang Chen still had a glimmer of hope for the Tang of the East. After all, that's the biggest hub of the Tianqin star. And that's good. Then I'll bring you to see the world. Hehe. Brother Jiang Chen, since you came to the Tianqin star, you've been in our western borders Dongqin Mountain. As the host, I must bring you to see the splendor of our Tianqin star. Qin Lu's eyes also lit up. There was a hint of excitement at the corner of her mouth. This half a year's time was just right for her to walk around with brother Jiang Chen. Then I'll leave it to you. Jiang Chen said with a shrug. He didn't have any pills on him now. If he could find some heavenly treasures to refine some pills, it would be great. After leaving the heavenly Qin planet, they would have to travel the universe. At that time, the dangers they would encounter might not be any less than here. The more powerful the astral boundary was, the more dangerous it would be. Even the ancestral land of the Qin family, the eternal night star, might not be a safe place. He must be prepared. It was very necessary to carry a few more medicinal pills on his back in case of emergency. However, Jiang Chen did not have any more source stones with him now. All of the source stones and source stone veins had been absorbed by Jiang Chen when he broke through and merged with the power of the stars. One had to know that what he absorbed was not only the power of the stars, but also countless amounts of source energy. It was because of this that he was able to become so strong. I need some medicinal herbs. Can you help me find some? Jiang Chen said. Medicinal herbs? Just tell me, big brother Jiang Chen. I'll definitely find them all for you. Our Dongqin mountain doesn't have much, but we do have a lot of medicinal herbs. You may not know this, but our Qin family started with medicinal herbs. This entire mountain is filled with medicinal herbs. Qin Lu said proudly as she patted her chest. Jiang Chen nodded and gave Qin Lu a list of more than 20 herbs. Jiang Chen also wanted to concoct 2 types of medicinal herbs. One was the Great Recovery Pill that could recover stamina. The small recovery pill wasn't enough to support his consumption, but the Great Recovery Pill could satisfy the needs of almost all cultivators below the cosmic cloud state. One pill could recover at least 50% of their strength. The other pill was the 8 Treasures Return Elixir that Jiang Chen had been researching. This was something that Jiang Chen researched himself. It was a pill that could recover mental energy. It required the addition of the leaf of Cinnamomum cassia. It was extremely terrifying and could recover at least 70% of the Star Soul's power. It was much more precious than the Great Recovery Pill. These 2 types of pills were extremely precious. Jiang Chen was very clear about the effects. Although he researched it himself, he had never put it into practice. This was also the first time that Jiang Chen researched the pill recipe. With his experience, it would depend on the final effect of the pills. In just half a day, Qin Lu found all the pills that Jiang Chen needed. This made Jiang Chen look at her in a new light. Qin Lu wasn't stingy with so many rare and precious treasures. In her own words, she was the one who had saved millions of lives in the Dongqin mountain, so what did this little bit of medicinal herbs count for? However, Jiang Chen still didn't like how she always talked about saving lives. He didn't do that because he wanted something. Thank you, Lulu. I will focus on concocting pills in these 10 days. Don't let anyone disturb me. Jiang Chen said. I will go and make some preparations. When you come out of seclusion, we will go to the Great Tang of the East. Qin Lu nodded. Jiang Chen took out the myriad qi cauldron and began to smelt the medicinal herbs. The Great Revitalizing Pill was easy to concoct. Qin Lu gave him a lot of medicinal herbs, so Jiang Chen didn't have to worry about anything. In the first 2 days, Jiang Chen wholeheartedly focused on concocting the great revitalizing pills. 1,000 great revitalizing pills, all of which were 10-mark pills. Moreover, the medicinal fragrance was very strong. Why is there such a strong medicinal fragrance? Yeah, I smell it too. It has been there for the past 2 days. Makes one feel relaxed. Who is concocting pills? I don't know. However, this medicinal fragrance can float in the entire Dongchen mountain. It's really too heaven-defying. This kind of pill is definitely not ordinary. Come, let's go and see where this medicinal fragrance is coming from. Many of the Qin family members were very curious because the medicinal fragrance was too strong. It couldn't be concealed within 100 miles. With 1,000 great revitalizing pills, Jiang Chen's arm was also quite big. Just one great revitalizing pill would probably cause countless people to go crazy over it in the secular world. After all, this wasn't a world where the average person was a 9-level star state. On the Tianqin planet there were only a few cosmic cloud states. Most people who could reach the star state were already extremely terrifying existences. That was why Jiang Chen's great revitalizing pills were so attractive. This medicinal fragrance was something they had never smelled before. It was really too fragrant. Everyone leave. It's our benefactor who is concocting the pills. You can all go and rest. After Qin Batian heard Qin Lu's words, he announced. Only then did the people of Dongchen Mountain calm down. But even so, Qin Batian was very shocked. He was saved by Jiang Chen before. Now Jiang Chen had concocted such a terrifying pill. How could he not be shocked? However, at this time, after Jiang Chen had concocted 1,000 great revitalizing pills, he placed most of his attention on the 8 treasures return elixir. This was the pill formula he researched. He didn't know if it would succeed in his first experiment. Chapter 51-27. Jiang Chen was very careful. After all, it was his first time concocting 8 treasures return elixir. Whether he could succeed or not depended on this. After adding in the golden cassia leaf, the aroma of the pill grew stronger and stronger. A terrifying aura filled the entire East Qin Mountain, covering everything within 50 kilometers of it. Such a dense aroma. This golden cassia leaf is really a treasure. Jiang Chen's heart was in turmoil. He had a towering cinnamomum cassia in his hands. The leaves of cinnamomum cassia were already so precious and had an extremely powerful calming effect. This golden cassia leaf could calm one's heart. It could definitely calm one's mind during cultivation. After adding it into his research of 8 treasures return elixir, the effect was magnified infinitely. Jiang Chen was extremely happy. He began to speed up his concoction. If he successfully concocted this, it would definitely be 10 times more precious than the Great Recovery Pill. Even a cosmic cloud state would be very excited. Even for cosmic cloud states, there were very few who could break through their natal astral soul. For those who didn't, this 8 treasures return elixir would have an unimaginable effect. It might even help them break through their natal astral soul. Hence, this 8 treasures return elixir was too terrifying. Jiang Chen's dream was finally about to succeed. The exciting moment was coming. Just when Jiang Chen was extremely excited, he heard a bang. All the pills in the myriad chi cauldron exploded. In other words, his first concoction, 8 treasures return elixir, actually failed. Jiang Chen was a little depressed. He had already grasped the embryonic form of this 8 treasures return elixir, but he still failed at the last moment. Damn it again. Jiang Chen was extremely unwilling to give up. He set off again and began to concoct pills like crazy. This time Jiang Chen had learned his lesson from before. He became more and more cautious, not letting go of any details. These details were the key to success. Most importantly, this was the first time Jiang Chen was concocting a pill that he had researched himself, so he didn't know if it would succeed or not. Dreams were plentiful, but reality was cruel. Researching such a rare pill recipe was not as simple as one might imagine. Jiang Chen's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. The more it was like this, the more dignified he became. This was the more challenging it would be. Only challenging things could make him so excited. However, he had never expected that he would fail again this time. He had worked so hard and was so cautious. But at the crucial moment when he was condensing the medicinal pill, he actually failed again. This gave Jiang Chen a huge headache. Jiang Chen reflected on his painful experience and started to research. Only now did he know that this pill was not that easy to concoct. Hence, he was extremely careful and didn't dare to make any mistakes. He had already made all the necessary preparations. Failure was the mother of success. As long as he could learn from his mistakes, there wouldn't be any problems and he would eventually succeed. Again and again Zhou Xian had tried countless methods and wasted countless herbs. In these 3 days Zhou Xian had experimented more than 100 times and all of them were failures. However, he was able to find the flaws in his failures every time. This pill was definitely not something ordinary people could concoct. It was a pill that could strengthen one's mental energy and astral souls. Hence, the difficulty of concocting it was extremely rare. No one knew how much effort Zhou Xian had put in. This was something he had never done before. Given his alchemy standard and his talent, he had actually failed over 100 times. From this, one could imagine how difficult this pill was to concoct. The more it was like this, the more Zhou Xian believed that this pill would definitely cause a sensation. After failing again and again and summing up his experience, Zhou Xian finally had a conclusion about this 8 treasures to elixir. This golden cassia leaf has a great effect on mental energy. Hence, at this time I must be very careful. When concocting an ordinary pill, I only need to move my thoughts and cooperate with the myriad chi cauldron. However, this 8 treasures to elixir actually failed every time. What's going on? Zhou Xian pondered. His eyes were incomparably complicated. However, he knew that there must be a problem somewhere. Otherwise, how could he fail again and again? If he couldn't find a good solution this time, Zhou Xian believed that even if he practiced for 108,000 years, the result would still be the same. Zhou Xian pondered for a whole day. Suddenly, a light flashed and Zhou Xian's eyes shone brightly. Yes, it must be the effect of 8 treasures to elixir. It is of great help to one's mental energy. It is completely different from other pills. Hence, I must use the power of my natal astral soul to condense it. It must be so. Zhou Xian's heart was incomparably excited. This idea made him more confident in himself. This time he must succeed. Zhou Xian's eyes were solemn and his heart was firm. He regrouped and began to immerse himself in alchemy once again. This time, after Zhou Xian had finished refining all the ingredients, he used his natal astral soul as a guide, and the energy from his astral soul as a support. He started to condense the medicinal pill, and the energy from his astral soul continued to pour into it. At this moment the medicinal pill started to slowly fuse again. Zhou Xian was extremely excited. The pill was constantly changing. This time it was like a small planet. A blue halo was constantly forming in the myriad chi cauldron and continuously fusing. It was like a comet streaking across the sky. The energy in the myriad chi cauldron was also getting stronger and stronger. Zhou Xian's pupils constricted. This terrifying pill had completely exceeded his imagination. Because of the energy of the astral soul within the pill, in addition to the astral soul's energy that was connected to the pill, it created an indescribably mysterious feeling. The power of Zhou Xian's astral soul was like a guide, causing the power of the astral soul in the pill itself to expand and compress unceasingly. This was absolutely something that Zhou Xian had never heard of before. This pill is really abnormal. Waves of shock rose in Zhou Xian's heart. At this moment he could already confirm that the path he was walking on was absolutely correct. This time he would definitely not fail again. However, he had never thought that he would still be careless. This pill actually began to devour the power of his astral soul, and even the source energy in his body. This made Zhou Xian even more surprised. However, this feeling didn't last for too long. As the pill was formed, the worry in Zhou Xian's eyes gradually faded away. Chapter 51-28. What's going on? Why is this happening? Is some powerful demon beast going to appear in Mount Dongchen again? That seems to be the case. If it's not a powerful demon beast, how could there be such terrifying dark clouds? The wind follows the tiger, the clouds follow the dragon. The weather is changing and the sun is being covered by the sorcery clouds. Is our Mount Dongchen going to experience some kind of disaster? This is really too worrying. One problem has yet to be settled, yet another. Our Mount Dongchen is truly plagued with disasters. Countless people raised their heads and stared at the dark clouds in the sky. The sky had turned dark, and the rumbling of thunder could be heard in the sky, causing everyone's heart to palpitate. The thunder was so loud that the people of Mount Dongchen had never heard it before. It could even be described as the end of the world. Even Qinfeng was unable to sit still in the face of such a huge formation. As the Qin clan's patriarch of Mount Dongqin, he also rushed out at the first instant, with the 9 great elders following behind him. They were all spectating. After all, this shocking turn of events had caused everyone's hearts to be filled with anxiety and trepidation. They were unable to imagine what would happen next. Patriarch, what do you think? Could it be that there's some big demon causing trouble? In my opinion, could it be that that guy has made a comeback? It's hard to say. Right now everything is unknown. However, the sky is filled with dark clouds, and the thunder is too dazzling and ear-piercing. All the elders were also panicking. Crack, crack, they had never heard such a deafening sound before. It almost pierced their eardrums. The sound of thunder seemed to rise from the bottom of their hearts, causing everyone's heart to palpitate. It was difficult for them to calm down. Let's wait and see. I've lived for a long time, but I've never seen such a loud thunder. Qin Feng wore a stern expression. However, even he could not do anything about it. He could only wait and see. That heavenly lightning. Oh my God. Brother Jiangqin is still there. Qin Lu's face was filled with worry and shock. She covered her mouth and stared at the hall in disbelief. What? Is little friend Jiangqin still there? Qin Feng was starting to panic as well. The terrifying thunderclouds were spreading across the entire sky, causing everyone to be unable to calm down. But now, Qin Lu actually said that Jiangqin was in that grand hall? Wouldn't that be extremely dangerous? Father, I think that little friend Jiangqin should be able to handle it. Qin Batian stared at his father with some hesitation. However, they didn't seem to have the ability to approach that place. The might of this thunderbolt was simply too terrifying. Even Qin Feng was hesitating, unable to make a decision. Rumble. Thunder roared once again. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The atmosphere became even more terrifying. They stared at the great hall where Jiangqin was in from afar, but it was impossible for them to advance. Even if it's you, I reckon that you will be turned into ashes after going against such a shocking lightning. Qin Feng glanced at Qin Batian. His son's worries were not without reason. However, little friend Jiangqin's location was the center of the lightning strike. Lightning descended from the sky and rainbow-colored clouds enveloped the entire horizon. As a bolt of lightning descended, all the buildings within a radius of a few miles were turned into dust. However, Qin Feng's gaze landed on a mountain peak. Jiangqin was sitting in a lotus position, holding a furnace in his hand as though he was refining something. Big brother Jiangqin. Qin Lu shouted, her heart filled with worry. Everyone in the Qin family had a change of expression. Jiangqin was actually sitting under the lightning. There's no need to worry. I'm refining a medicinal pill. This is just pill lightning. Jiangqin's voice reverberated throughout the sky. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. It was good that Jiangqin was fine. Qin Lu let out a long sigh of relief. The shock in her eyes was still unconcealable. Qin Feng and the others were even more so. The 9 elders exchanged glances with each other in disbelief. Isn't this too terrifying? This pill lightning can even kill an 8th heaven star level expert. The energy is too strong. There's no way we can withstand it. That's right. If we go up, we'll only be turned into dust. To think that little friend Jiangqin is still sitting there. This is simply unbelievable. Benefactor is truly a benefactor. We can only look up to him in the dust. There's no need to worry now. Little friend Jiangqin is merely refining a medicinal pill. Even so, no one dared to underestimate Jiangqin. They didn't even dare to avert their eyes, fearing that Jiangqin would be struck by those heaven-shaking and earth-shattering lightning bolts and turn into a pile of dust. Qin Feng's heart was unable to calm down for a long time. This kind of alchemy technique could be said to shock the heavens and earth. Little friend Jiangqin had truly shocked him too much. What kind of medicinal pill would be refined with such pill lightning? Qin Feng couldn't imagine it at all. Even I shouldn't be able to withstand more than 3 strikes from that pill lightning. Qin Feng mumbled. For Jiangqin to be able to defeat a powerful enemy and save the millions of lives of their Mount Dongqin, his strength and means must be heaven-shaking. Seems like this wasn't a baseless rumor. Jiangqin raised his head and looked at the sky with an incomparably solemn gaze. These bolts of lightning were the guarantee of his body tempering. He didn't have any worries at all. Every single bolt of lightning was like a ripple of water, landing on his body and eventually passing through the blue medicinal pill. Each time the blue medicinal pill would turn a little darker. As the 9 bolts of lightning struck down, the final color of the pill turned darker and darker, eventually turning into a deep purple. The brilliance was something that Xianxia couldn't describe with words. After the 9 bolts of lightning, the medicinal pill was finally formed. However, Xianxia was still unharmed. In the eyes of the people of Mount Dongqin, their benefactor Xianxia was like a god that had descended from the heavens to save their Mount Dongqin. To be able to remain unscathed even after being struck by such bolts of lightning, such means were truly unparalleled. Most importantly, Xianxia was only at the 8th level of the star realm. This was like a fantasy story. It was hard to predict what Xianxia would achieve in the future. Furthermore, he could even concoct medicinal pills. If such a pill were to appear, it would definitely be an existence that would shake the heavens and earth. Everyone raised their heads in anticipation. When they smelled the fragrance of the pill, they could feel a refreshing feeling in their hearts. Furthermore, they felt extremely comfortable without any discomfort. As the fragrance of the pill lingered around them, they felt extremely relaxed. This feeling was indescribable. They felt as though their souls had been emptied. This feeling was the most suitable for cultivation. Just what kind of medicinal pill is this? How can it be so terrifying? Just this fragrance alone is enough to make me feel relaxed and carefree. This is simply too amazing. Benefactor is truly a blessing to our Mount Dongqin. Chapter 51-29. Xianxia clenched the pill in his hand tightly. This pill was too powerful. The 9-colored pill lightning pierced through the world and completely purified the 8 treasure return elixir. The lightning retreated and the pill was completed. The pill had long since turned from blue to dark purple. Xianxia's heart was filled with fighting spirit as he held the pill in his hands. Using his natal astral soul as an example, if his natal astral soul was damaged, he would only need a few dozen seconds to recover to its peak. The effect of this pill was extraordinary. Even Xianxia didn't expect it. It seemed that the golden cassia leaf was really powerful. Looking at the empty mountain peak, Xianxia smiled bitterly. It seemed that while he was concocting the pill, he had turned all the buildings within a 10-mile radius to dust. The surrounding mountains were also affected by the lightning shockwave. The buildings and forests within 100 miles were affected too. Although they weren't completely destroyed, the damage was severe. Xianxia's heart was filled with excitement. With the pills in his hands, it was like having an extra life. Even cosmic cloud states would fight over this pill. It was too amazing. Although it was only an 8-rune pill, Xianxia knew that this was his first time concocting a pill. It wasn't easy. Congratulations, little friend Xianxia. You obtained a pill. I'm really envious. Qin Feng laughed heartily as his eyes were filled with admiration. Other than admiration, there was only admiration. Such a being was destined to be a dragon in the 9 heavens. Not only was he powerful, but he also had such terrifying pill concoction abilities. Even in the Sky Tyrant cosmic region, there aren't many people who can concoct such an earth-shattering pill like little friend Xianxia, Qin Batian praised. It was a pity that Xianxia couldn't become his son-in-law. Otherwise he would be overjoyed. You flatter me, Xianxia said with a smile. I feel bad for causing such a mess in the Qin clan. Xianxia had a bitter expression on his face as he took out 10 great cyclic pills and handed them over to Qin Feng. Qin Feng's face was filled with shock. Little friend Xianxia, consider it my compensation, Furthermore, the medicinal ingredients for my alchemy were all given to me by Lulu. These 10 great recovery pills can help a person recover their origin energy in an instant, so they can be considered precious. I'll give them to the Qin clan. Everyone was stunned by Xianxia's words, and their faces were filled with excitement. This seems to be too expensive, right? Little friend Xianxia. Qin Feng said with some difficulty. However, these great recovery pills were simply too alluring. Not only that, there were 10 of them. A single great recovery pill was equivalent to having a life. This caused all the members of the Qin clan to be terrified and overjoyed. Patriarch Qin deserves it. Take it. How could there be any logic in taking back something that Xianxia had given out? Furthermore, Xianxia still had 990 great recovery pills in his hands. To him, these things weren't all that precious. However, in the eyes of Qin Feng and the rest of the Qin clan, their significance was completely different. Many thanks, little friend Xianxia. In that case, it would be impolite for this old man to refuse. The moment Qin Feng received the pill, his body shuddered. Could this be the legendary 10 Veins pill? Qin Feng's words caused everyone present to be filled with shock. 10 Veins pill. That was just a legend. For someone to be able to concoct a 10 Veins pill, that was way too heaven-defying. Jiang Chen's figure grew even bigger in their hearts. 10 Veins pill. This was a 10 Veins pill. Qin Feng received the 10 Veins pill with trembling hands. His eyes shone brightly as he shed tears of gratitude. Big brother Jiangchen, you're simply too amazing. Qin Lu gave him a thumbs up and said sincerely. At this moment, Jiang Chen's figure in her heart was something that no one could reach. Jiangchen, Jiangchen, Jiangchen. A series of roars reverberated through Mount Dongchen. Jiangchen felt a little embarrassed. From today onwards, this pill shall be the treasure of our Qin clan. Anyone who has made great contributions to the clan will be able to obtain this pill. Qin Feng held the pill in his hand with a solemn expression. Countless members of the Qin clan were filled with desire. The 9 elders and Qin Batian were the same. Because this pill was simply too precious. After living for so many years, Qin Feng had never seen a pill like this. This was definitely the first time he had ever seen a pill like this. Furthermore, it was a 10 Veins pill. This had far exceeded his knowledge. In the future, this pill would definitely allow the Qin clan to rise. Mount Dongchen would definitely become the only big shot in the western border in the future. These 10 pills contained all of Qin Feng's hopes. Now that the surrounding palaces have been destroyed, I'm really sorry. However, I might need some more medicinal ingredients. Qin clan head, I might have to trouble you again. Jiang Qin said. No trouble, no trouble. Qin Feng waved his hands repeatedly. The value of these 10 Veins Great Recovery pills was simply inestimable. A single one of them was priceless. Especially to experts, this was something that could only be encountered by luck. Every single Great Recovery pill could save one's life. This was something that couldn't be bought no matter how much money one had. Batian passed down the order. Search for medicinal ingredients for little friend Jiangchen. The more the better. Qin Feng said with a solemn expression. In the next few days, Jiangchen was constantly refining pills. Jiangchen found a very remote mountain forest. After all, this was Mount Dongchen and it would definitely affect many people. After a few days, Jiangchen had only refined a mere 8 treasures returned to elixir. However, the 8 treasures returned to elixir this time were all 10 Veins pill. With the previous example, Jiangchen definitely wouldn't make any more mistakes. When Jiangchen left the mountain forest, the sun had just risen. At this time, Qin Lu had already made her preparations to follow Jiangchen to the Tang of the Eastern Land. There were many people there and there were also many interstellar wanderers. Therefore, if they wanted to find news of Feng or De Huang Longshisan and Luoying, Jiangchen definitely had to go. In this half a year, whether or not he could find any clues would depend on his ability. Big brother Jiangchen, your strength has improved again. You're really amazing. I'm really ashamed to be able to follow you to the Qin clan's ancestral land to cultivate. Qin Lu said with a smile. Your talent isn't bad either. The ancestor of your Qin clan's ancestral temple, Zhe Ming, wasn't randomly chosen. He has been extremely strict for so many years. You can obtain this special honor because of your own ability. Don't belittle yourself. You're not worse than anyone else. Jiangchen said. Yes. I'll listen to you, big brother Jiangchen. Let's go. Qin Lu broke into a smile. Chapter 5130. The Tang of the East. This was the most prosperous place in the entire Tianqian planet. It was also the place that Qin Lu had always wanted to go. It was the most terrifying transportation hub in the entire Tianqian planet. Countless people and even half of the Sky Tyrant Star region's galactic wanderers would appear here. The Tang of the East was also known as the Hunter's Paradise. Here you could find anything you wanted. Of course, as long as you had enough money. Here, enough source stones could bring you endless enjoyment. As long as you had enough money, there would be countless people working for you. Power, women, and power were the most realistic existences here. There were colorful slaves, orcs, elves, and all sorts of strange races. There were even many that Jiangchen had never seen before. The degree of prosperity here was the most shocking he had ever seen. Even the Sky Awakening Galaxy City couldn't compare to this place. The Heaven Awakening Galaxy City was already a terrifying existence in the Heaven Awakening Galaxy region, but compared to this place, it paled in comparison. There are a total of 9 cities in the Tang of the East, and each of them is quite prosperous. The city we are in now is Lin, and the core city. There are hundreds of millions of people from all over the world. The people here are very realistic. As long as you have money, you can be the boss. Qianlu smiled. Yes, it's the same no matter where you go. You're the boss if you have money. Jiangqin nodded. Qianlu was right. This was how the world was. The world was bustling and everyone went for benefits. Those who seek profit are in pursuit of greater strength. The streets here were bustling with activity. The tall buildings here towered into the sky, striking fear into people's hearts. This place was a place where the water surged and flowed endlessly. There were countless streams of people crisscrossing the heavens and earth. The number of experts here was also destined to be innumerable. The ruler of this place is a cosmic cloud state, Tang Feng. He has been ruling this place for 100,000 years. When the Qin family just settled in the western border, Tang Feng was the ruler here. I heard from my grandpa that Tang Feng, City Lord Tang, is an important figure in the entire Tang of the East. He's the guardian of this place, the keeper of order. Qianlu said solemnly. In the main hall, there's a very powerful army called the Imperial Uniform Guard. They're very strong, and it's said that their strongest member is a star level 9. Their power is comparable to our Shijiang's pinnacle warriors. Back then there was a rumor that a half-step cosmic cloud state caused trouble in the Tang of the East. The genie guard set up a trap, but Tang Feng took care of him. Since then no one has dared to make trouble here. There are countless merchants coming and going from Tang of the East. Many people just pass by, but those who stay here are extremely cautious about Tang of the East. They are afraid that they will cause trouble and bring disaster to Tang of the East. By then half of the Sky Tyrant Starfield will become his battlefield. If you are chased down, you will be blacklisted. Not only will you not be able to enter the Heaven Star, you might even be killed by the Star Wanderers. Jiangqin nodded inwardly, surprised. It seemed that the ruler of Great Tang was quite strong. No wonder this place can become a city of order. It's because there are many powerful beings here. There are people who can stand up for justice. There are very few cities like this. You must be able to control the majority of the people. Jiangqin said. Yes, that's why many people trust Tang Feng. He became the representative of the Tang Empire, the city lord. As long as Tang Feng is here, the Tang Empire will not fall into chaos. Cosmic cloud states are rather rare. Even in the Sky Tyrant cosmic region there aren't many. In the entire Tianqin planet there shouldn't be more than 5. Qianlu smiled. Cosmic cloud state, Jiangqin murmured. He didn't know when he could reach the power of a cosmic cloud state. Where is the best place to get information here? Jiangqin asked Qianlu. The auction. This is because many people will appear in the auction house once they obtain a treasure, or even some extremely important information. Once they can auction it for a high price, they will be able to get it done once and for all, and the harvest will be great. Qianlu said. That's fine. I happen to have some pills that I want to sell. I don't have any more source stones. Jiangqin said. Let's go. I'll take you to Brother Jiangqin. The largest auction in Lin and city should be the HSBC auction house. It doesn't matter who you are, be it a high official or a rich young lady, as long as you have money, there are countless treasures there. The auction house is also the largest exchange center in the surrounding 100,000 light years, so you can imagine how huge it is. It's said that the HSBC auction house is City Lord Tang Feng's property, but no one knows the exact origin. However, it's better to believe it than not. The HSBC auction house has been the largest auction house in the Tang Empire for all these years. We'll definitely get something if we go there. Qianlu nodded. Big brother Jiangqin was anxious to find his son, so she was also worried for him at this time. The HSBC auction house is the only auction house in the Tang Empire, and it has branches in every city. Let's hurry, brother Jiangqin. Looks like I really have to go take a look. I hope that my pills can sell for a good price. Jiangqin smiled. The two of them went straight to the HSBC auction house. As the largest auction house in Lin and city and even in the Tang Empire, the vastness of this place was an eye-opener for Jiangqin. The HSBC auction house was located on a tall mountain. There were millions of houses, and at the top of the mountain was a massive platform. It was tens of thousands of zhang wide and could hold millions of people. This level of grandeur was hard to imagine. An auction house with millions of people was too shocking. Is it very shocking? Big brother Jiangqin, restrain yourself. No matter what, we are still some of the top experts here. We can't afford to lose face here. Qin Lu chuckled. Jiang Chen shrugged. The two of them went straight to the HSBC auction house. As they walked up the stairs, there were many merchants and buyers. The auction house wasn't only operated during auctions. It was also a huge market during normal times. Where there were people, there would be society. Where there were profits, there would be business. This was an unchanging principle. Many of the merchants in the surroundings were stellar-level experts. In order to travel through the sword of the galaxy and become an interstellar wanderer, one had to at least reach the stellar-level standard. Those interstellar wanderers who could beg for food in the galaxy were not ordinary people. When Jiang Chen and Qin Lu arrived at the auction house, someone came up to ask if they wanted to buy or sell. Chapter 5131. May I know the grade of your elixir? Would you like to auction it or sell it to our auction house? A blue-eared elf girl asked with a smile. Anything brought by a star-grade expert would definitely not be simple. Moreover, they were just maids. They could not be compared to star-grade experts like Jiang Chen and Jiang Lu. A pinnacle grade 8 elixir, the Great Recovery Pill. Jiang Chen said faintly. What? A pinnacle grade 8 elixir? The elf girl's face was filled with shock and disbelief. Such an elixir could only be found by luck. Even a pinnacle star-grade expert would definitely scramble for it. Such an elixir was not something she could appraise or purchase. Senior, please wait for a moment. I will go and invite the manager to appraise it for you. This way, please. The elf girl stepped back and went to the VIP seats at the back, inviting Jiang Chen and Qin Lu to join her. Are you really planning to sell your Great Recovery Pill? That would be such a pity. Qin Lu gritted her teeth and said in a low voice. The Great Recovery Pill was a top-grade elixir. Moreover, it was a 10-rune elixir. Even she yearned to obtain one. Brother Jiang Chen actually wanted to sell it. Anyone who obtained such an elixir would definitely treasure it. It was equivalent to a life-saving item. Who wouldn't fight for it? Speaking of which, I forgot to give you some. Jiang Chen smiled. After the elf girl left, he flipped his palm and took out 10 Great Recovery Pills and handed them to Qin Lu. I'll give it to you. These 10 elixirs can be considered as my compensation to you. Just don't think it's too little. After all, you provided all the ingredients for the Great Cyclic Elixir. I can't be biased. Qin Lu's expression changed as she looked at the 10-rune elixir in Jiang Chen's hand. These are actually 10 10-rune elixirs. She couldn't believe that it was a Great Recovery Pill at the peak of the 8th grade. She thought that since Jiang Chen had given her clan 5 Great Recovery Pills, he wouldn't have many left. But at this moment, Jiang Chen actually gave her 10 Great Recover Pills without hesitation. And he didn't even feel the pinch at all. This caused Qin Lu's face to be filled with fear. Wasn't this too precious? No, big brother Jiang Chen, this is too precious. I can't accept it. Qin Lu repeatedly declined. I still have a lot here. Hurry up and take it. It's not something precious. If you run out of food in the future, just ask me for more. Jiang Chen had an indifferent look on his face, but Qin Lu's heart was unable to calm down for a long time. Big brother Jiang Chen, isn't he a little too abnormal? But thinking about how he defeated the leaders of 2 major factions in the western border and heavily injured the half-step cosmic cloud state Yitionan, she understood. She only knew a limited amount of big brother Jiang Chen's secrets. His power was unbelievable. Jiang Chen's mysteriousness had left him in the dust. This time big brother Jiang Chen must have really concocted a lot of Great Restore pills, and they were all 10-veined pills. Such wealth and such courage were rarely seen in this world. Then I won't reject it. Thank you, big brother Jiang Chen. Qin Lu smiled sweetly and nervously took the 10 Great Recovery Pills from Jiang Chen's hand. Her heart couldn't calm down at all. Big brother Jiang Chen had given him so many great rejuvenating pills. It seemed like his position in Jiang Chen's heart was quite high. Even the Qin family had only given him 5 great rejuvenating pills and he alone had 10. Qin Lu was incomparably happy. Big brother Jiang Chen must like her, but he couldn't be with her right now. There were just too many things that he had to face. He needed to find his children, his brothers and sister Luo Ying. Even if she had deep feelings for him, he would still be afraid of hurting her. Qin Lu believed that she was still very important in big brother Jiang Chen's heart. In a trance, the door was pushed open. Jiang Chen raised his head and saw an old man wearing a scarf walking in with a smile. He was a 6th heavenly layer star realm expert, but he didn't expect that these 2 people were stronger than him. Moreover, he couldn't even see through their cultivation bases. Sorry to keep you two waiting. The old man chuckled and nodded. These two powerful experts must have brought something extraordinary with them. I'm Gong Lianqing, the manager here. I wonder if little brother can take a look at your pills? Gong Lianqing said. If he wanted to appraise and sell it, he must take a good look. Moreover, the difference in grades of pills was very big. The same pill, if the grade was too different, the price would be heaven and earth. It was just a peak 8th grade pill, great recovery pill. It was Gong Lianqing's first time seeing this kind of pill. He heard others say that it was very precious. If someone had this kind of pill, why would they sell it themselves? They were all treasured by themselves. Who would want to sell these things? Therefore, Gong Lianqing didn't believe it at first. It was either a very ordinary defective pill. But even if it was a defective great recovery pill, the price was very high. It was hard to find one. Jiang Chen looked at Gong Lianqing. This guy was typical of people who didn't believe him. However, it was understandable that he wanted to see the pill. After all, goods were sold at the market price, and a price could only be set after seeing the goods. Jiang Chen chuckled and took out a great recovery pill. Gong Lianqing was stunned when he saw the great recovery pill. Terrifying Genesis Qi filled the air, filling the entire room. His eyes unblinkingly stared at this scene. This pill was too shocking. The great recovery pill had already surpassed his understanding. It was the first time he had seen such a pill in his life. Qin Lu looked at this scene with a smile on her face. Not to mention Gong Lianqing, even she herself was shocked when she saw the great recovery pill concocted by big brother Jiang Chen. As it turned out, this pill was enough to make Gong Lianqing dumbfounded. Could this be the legendary 10-rune pill? Gong Lianqing stuttered. His expression was incomparably grim as he looked at Jiang Chen with an incomparably grave expression. That's right, it is a peak 10-rune grade 8 pill. Jiang Chen nodded. Gong Lianqing unblinkingly stared at the pill. His face was filled with excitement as he held it in his hand. A 10-rune pill. How could he possibly have it? Gong Lianqing had only heard of it in legends. But when he saw it with his own eyes, Gong Lianqing knew that he couldn't hold himself back any longer. This pill was simply too precious. At least in his eyes, he would never sell this 10-rune pill if it was his. How is it? How much is this pill worth? Chapter 5132. Jiang Chen's words pulled Gong Lianqing back to reality. His face was grim as he mused, but he didn't know what kind of price to give. If it were a healing pill, the price would be slightly lower. After all, it had to be targeted. However, a 10-mark pill that could recover one's essence qi was definitely priceless. This was equivalent to having an extra life in a life-and-death battle. Could give you more power and opportunities. It was definitely no joke to save your life at a crucial moment. It wasn't hard to imagine how much a human life was worth. Everyone who reached this level of cultivation was afraid of death. Once they died, it would be the end of everything. That was why the Great Recovery Pill was so precious. This pill should be able to instantly recover a peak star state's combat power. Gong Lianqing looked at Jiang Chen. Half-step cosmic cloud state should be able to do it too. Jiang Chen's words made Gong Lianqing hold his breath. He took a deep breath. He was just guessing, but Jiang Chen's words were definitely true. After all, this was a 10-veined pill. This baby was way too awesome. As the saying goes, the rarer something is, the greater its value. If it was a 6-rune or 7-rune pill, Gong Lianqing would be able to offer a price. However, this was a 10-rune pill. He wasn't prepared at all. In our HSBC auction house, a 4-rune grade 8 Great Recovery Pill was auctioned for 100,000 grade 9 source stones. Gong Lianqing said with a heavy breath. His salary in the HSBC auction house for 100 years was only 8,000 grade 9 origin stones. In other words, it would take him more than 1,000 years to be able to afford a grade 8 Great Restore pill with 4 veins. Moreover, it was something that could only be obtained through luck. This 10-rune pill should be worth at least 800,000 to 1 million grade 9 source stones. Gong Lianqing wasn't stingy at all. Jiang Chen and Qin Lu glanced at each other. They were quite shocked. Jiang Chen didn't expect this peak 8th grade Great Revitalizing Pill to be so terrifyingly valuable. Of course, it also had something to do with its existence. There would definitely be people who would pay any price for this life-saving item. Not bad, it met my expectations. Jiang Chen smiled. Little brother, are you really willing to part with it? If you're willing, I'll go find our leader now and talk to you in detail. Gong Lianqing asked cautiously. Fine, I don't think you can make the decision. I still have a few great recover pills. If the price is right, I'll sell them to your auction house. Jiang Chen said. Gong Lianqing was completely dumbfounded. What? How many more 10 marks great rejuvenating pills are there? Oh my god. Gong Lianqing's entire body trembled, his face extremely pale. He indeed didn't have the ability to negotiate. This involved tens of millions of grade 9 origin stones, and he didn't have the authority to do so. However, Jiang Chen's words completely shocked him. You really can't judge a book by its cover. His excitement was beyond words. With so many recover elixirs and all of them were 10 vein elixirs, it was bound to cause a stir in the entire Lin and city, no, the entire Tang of the Eastern land. Sir, please wait for a moment. I'll go find our leader now. Gong Lianqing nodded and left the room. His back was already drenched in sweat. Now he had to go find the leader because he didn't have the authority to negotiate such a big deal. These two people seemed to be really not simple. After Gong Lianqing left, Chen Lu stuck out her tongue and said to Jiang Chen with a grateful face, Brother Jiang Chen, I just thought that this recover pill was very valuable, but I didn't expect it to be so valuable. The rarer something is, the greater its value. Moreover, this recover pill is extremely important to anyone. It can save your life at the moment of life and death. Who wouldn't be moved by it? Jiang Chen said with a smile. This seemed to be within his expectations, but such a price still shocked Jiang Chen. This time you're really rich, Brother Jiang Chen. I'll have to rely on you in the future. Chen Lu smiled sweetly. However, she suddenly felt that her words might have been too ambiguous. In an instant, her charming face turned red. Don't worry. With me around, I definitely won't let you suffer a loss. Jiang Chen's words made Chen Lu's heart feel as happy as if she had eaten honey. Brother Jiang Chen's eyes were as gentle as water, making Chen Lu extremely happy. Not long after, the door to the VIP room was pushed open again. This time, the person who entered was a girl wearing a lotus-colored dress. The girl was very tall and her figure was extremely hot. She had bright eyes and white teeth. Her eyes were like waves and the corners of her mouth were bright red and flirtatious. She made men unable to stop even if they wanted to. This girl was pure yet flirtatious, delicate yet charming. However, her strength wasn't weak at all. At the very least, Jiang Chen could feel a considerable amount of pressure coming from this girl. So strong. This girl was really not simple. Moreover, her face was full of smiles. There was no trace of it, so people couldn't tell what exactly she meant. I'm Tang Wan, the person in charge here. Friend, this elixir has really broadened my horizons. I never dreamed that I would be able to see a 10-mark elixir, and it's even at the peak of the 8th grade. It's really a pleasant surprise. Tang Wan's red lips parted slightly, and her smile was as gentle as jade. However, at this moment, Chen Lu was very unhappy because this woman had seriously threatened her position in Brother Jiang Chen's heart. Brother Jiang Chen clearly looked at her a few more times. This woman was really too infuriating. The jealousy between women was unimaginable to anyone. When Chen Lu saw Tang Wan, the two women were somewhat at odds with each other. However, in Jiang Chen's eyes, this wasn't a big deal because he didn't notice these problems at all. This was a competition between the two women. It wasn't because of Jiang Chen, but neither of them wanted to be inferior to the other woman. You flatter me, Jiang Chen said. How many recover pills do you have, sir? As long as the price is right, our auction house will buy all of them. Tang Wan's smile was very elegant, like a spring breeze. Can you really buy as many as you want? What about 100? Jiang Chen also said with a bright smile, and his eyes met Tang Wan's. Tang Wan's mouth moved slightly. You're kidding. I only have 10. After Jiang Chen said that, Tang Wan's expression changed slightly. What do you mean by only have 10? Isn't he looking down on me? However, Tang Wan's expression was still very serious and shocked when she heard that there were 10 10-mark recover pills. Sir, are you serious? Can you really take out 10 great recover pills? Before Tang Wan's voice died away, 10 recover pills had already appeared in Jiang Chen's hands. Chapter 5133. Don't judge a book by its cover. The sea was immeasurable. Tang Wan didn't expect that this ordinary-looking young man in front of her could take out 10 recover pills at the same time. Most importantly, they were all 10-mark pills. This was unbelievable. A 10-rune pill was enough to make countless people go crazy. Even she was filled with excitement. Although she had seen countless people and treasures, she had never seen a 10-rune pill before. The Great Recover pill was an extremely rare pill that could swiftly recover one's Genesis chi. Such a pill could only be found by luck and not sought after. Let alone a 10-rune pill, even a 5 or 6-rune pill would be fought over by countless people. The 10 runes Great Revitalizing pill in Jiang Chen's hand was like a sudden clap of thunder to Tang Wan. Her heart was in turmoil. This pill was too amazing. This would be the biggest transaction of the auction house in the past few thousand years. One was enough to shock the world and move cosmic cloud states. 10. Oh my god, this would be an unimaginable amount of wealth. Furthermore, these 10 elixirs would definitely elevate the status of the HSBC auction house. 10 pills. Tang Wan murmured. Tang Wan murmured. The shock in her heart was at its peak. At this moment Tang Wan looked at Jiang Chen with a pair of lustful eyes. What kind of person could refine so many pills? If he wasn't a cosmic cloud state, he definitely wouldn't have such means. However, Jiang Chen clearly wasn't a cosmic cloud state. Was there someone else behind him? Sir, are you planning to sell all of these pills or auction them off? If you are willing to sell them, the auction house is willing to bid for each pill at the price of 1.2 million grade 9 source stones. What do you think? Tang Wan's smile was elegant and calm, but she was extremely excited. Even a cosmic cloud state would be jealous of these pills. Something that could save one's life was more than 100 times better than some useless pills. Especially for those who like to wander in the eternal world, an extra life could often allow them to reach the heavens in one step. When a person died, no amount of money or treasures would matter. However, a 10 runes Great Revitalizing pill would allow them to regain everything. The value of such a pill was self-evident. 1.2 million grade 9 source stones. This price wasn't low. After all, although this pill was precious and everyone wanted it, not many people could take out grade 9 source stones, especially those below the cosmic cloud state. If a cosmic cloud state took out 1 million source stones, it would be understandable. Only a wealthy family would have the confidence. Even Qin Lu, who was watching from the side, was a little dumbfounded. To think that these 10 great cyclic pills would have such a horrifying value. This was truly unimaginable. Jiang Chen had given her so much. It was hard for Qin Lu to part with this friendship, and it was even harder for her to repay him. Big brother Jiang Chen was just too good to her. When this woman looked at big brother Jiang Chen, her eyes were filled with greed, as if she couldn't wait to swallow big brother Jiang Chen. This kind of woman was just too dangerous. As the manager of the auction house, Tang Wan's attitude made Qin Lu feel a great sense of danger. She didn't have a good impression of this woman. This price is indeed not bad. It seems I can't reject it. Jiang Chen shrugged and smiled. After all, 12 million grade 9 source stones were enough for him to cultivate for a long time. Not many cosmic cloud states could be as confident as him. Sir, you are so funny. It seems that our cooperation will be very pleasant. Tang Wan gently flipped her hair. Her eyes were sparkling, but Jiang Chen's expression remained the same. He turned a deaf ear. Tang Wan's good impression was obviously because of the great recovery pills. He wasn't narcissistic enough to think that someone had fallen in love with him. I hope so. However, I have one more thing that I hope Miss Tang can help me with. If Miss Tang can help me, I am willing to sow another 10 great recovery pills. Jiang Chen said solemnly. Tang Wan's expression froze. She was stunned and stared at Jiang Chen in disbelief. 10 great restore pills? How big of a deal would this be? Even in the entire Tang of the East, there might not be anyone who could offer such a generous reward. Tang Wan was even more shocked. Where did this guy get so many great revitalizing pills from? It seemed that his identity must be extraordinary. Things that were like treasures to her were worth so little in the hands of Jiang Chen. However, Tang Wan was not stupid. She knew that what Jiang Chen wanted to ask of her must be extremely difficult. But for Tang Wan, she still had some faith in the Tang of the East and the entire Tianqian star. Sir, please speak your mind. What do you need my help with? Tang Wan asked. Looking at Jiang Chen's serious expression, it must be a big deal to him. I want to find a person called Jiang Feng. He is not from the Tianqian star, nor is he from the Sky Tyrant star field. However, I have found out that he is in the Sky Tyrant star field. Miss Tang has a wide network. If you can help me find information about Jiang Feng, I will give you 10 great recovery pills. Jiang Chen stared at Tang Wan with burning eyes. Sir, may I ask who this person is? It's my son. I've been looking for him for many years. I came from Heavenly Revelation Starfield to find my son, Jiang Feng. If Miss Tang can help me find him, I, Jiang Chen, will be eternally grateful. Jiang Chen looked serious. After all, this was not his territory. Moreover, Tang Wan was the manager of the largest auction house in the Tang of the East. She must have a wide network of people and information. All the merchants passing through the Tang of the East passed through the Tianqin Star. It could be said that any information that passed through the Tang of the East would not escape Tang Wan's hands. All right. Since that is the case, I will do my best. Furthermore, Sir's 10 Great Recover pills are very important to our auction house. I, Tang Wan, will definitely do my best to help you find Jiang Feng. Tang Wan's expression was serious, not only because she wanted to please Jiang Chen, but also because the value of 10 Great Recovery pills was immeasurable. If she could find any information about Jiang Feng, it would be like reaching the heavens in a single step. Although she had obtained the 10 Great Recovery pills, the other 10 were the revenge that Jiang Chen had promised. Money could make the devil turn millstones. Tang Wan was no exception. Everyone in the world was motivated by money. This was a fact that no one could change. Thank you, Miss Tang. Jiang Chen nodded. Sir, how did you make these pills? Tang Wan smiled. My master made them. I don't have the means to do so. However, my master doesn't want me to reveal his name. Chapter 5134. Tang Wan's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that Jiang Chen's master was also a terrifying master. Perhaps he was a cosmic cloud state. This wasn't something Jiang Chen could do right now. He must be a cosmic cloud state to be able to take out so many of these pills so casually, and they were all 10 rune pills. Even if he wasn't, Jiang Chen's master must be a terrifyingly powerful expert, and an expert in alchemy. It was fine to offend an alchemy master, but if you offended a true alchemy master, it would undoubtedly be a disaster. The influence of an alchemy grandmaster wasn't something ordinary people could compare with. With Jiang Chen's power, it wasn't impossible for his master to command a few cosmic cloud states. Since he didn't want to tell her, Tang Wan chose to remain silent. Otherwise, if she angered him, it wouldn't be something that could be resolved with just a few sentences. It wasn't that Tang Wan couldn't afford to offend such a person, but she didn't need to. Who would go against money? Even if Jiang Chen robbed it, it was his ability. Other people couldn't do it. In that case, I'm sorry, sir. I was rude. I will do my best to do what you ask of me. I also hope you can find your beloved son soon. Tang Wan smiled. 10 vein great revitalizing pills. This was not an ordinary temptation. She absolutely had to find information about this Jiang Feng. This kind of opportunity could not be missed, it would not come again. Even if she couldn't be on good terms with Jiang Chen, she must not offend him. Otherwise, it would be a huge loss for the HSBC auction house. Back then, when her father passed the auction house to her, he had once told her that she mustn't underestimate anyone. The universe was vast, and the origins weren't something they could probe. The eternal world was boundless and boundless. Who knows when a supreme expert, an existence they couldn't even come into contact with, would descend upon the Tianqin planet. If they underestimated anyone, it would be a disaster for them. Being humble was the right thing to do. Always have the heart of an apprentice. Here are 12 million grade 9 origin stones. Please accept them, sir. We will be holding an auction in the next few days. It will be very lively and there will be many treasures. I hope that sir will be able to attend. Tang Wan handed a black jade card to Jiang Chen. This is only available to our black gold members. As long as you have any requests, we will satisfy them. Thank you, I will definitely come to support you. Jiang Chen nodded. I still have something to do, so I won't bother you any longer. I'm staying at the South City Inn. If you have any news, Miss Tang, feel free to find me. Jiang Chen will be waiting for you. Farewell. After speaking, Jiang Chen left the HSBC auction house. Tang Wan narrowed her eyes. This guy seemed to have an extraordinary background. This guy is really generous. Miss, do we need to investigate this person's background? After Jiang Chen and the others left, Gong Lianqing quietly appeared beside Tang Wan. No need. Tang Wan said indifferently. What if this elixir came from a shady background? Gong Lianqing was taken aback. You still dare to provoke someone who can turn the western region upside down? Tang Wan sneered and looked at Gong Lianqing. Miss, you mean he's an expert from the western region? Gong Lianqing asked in a low voice. Not long ago, the western region suffered heavy losses in the war. The three great forces were almost reshuffled. Then a person appeared out of nowhere and pacified the three great forces. That person is him. Tang Wan said. What? Gong Lianqing's face changed. His whole body trembled as he looked in the direction Jiang Chen had left in disbelief. Although this news was blocked, Tang Wan, who stood at the top of the pyramid, was still clear about it. After leaving the HSBC auction house, Qin Lu's face was extremely ugly, which surprised Jiang Chen. What's wrong with you? Lulu, are you not feeling well? You don't look too good. Jiang Chen asked. Yeah, how can my complexion be better than Miss Tang's? Qin Lu said indifferently with a smile at the corner of her mouth. Jiang Chen was stunned for a moment before he burst into laughter. It seemed that Qin Lu was jealous. Although the two of them didn't make a pledge of eternal love, Jiang Chen was still very clear about Qin Lu's feelings for him. I know I'm not Sister Luo Ying and I don't have the right to be jealous, but I just don't like her. Look at how eager she is to you, as if she can't wait to eat you up. This woman is not a good person at first glance. Humph. Qin Lu curled her lips and said. I'm afraid you'll be fooled and fall into her honey trap. Jiang Chen couldn't help but smile. I can even resist your honey trap, let alone her. She's more coquettish than me. She's so flirtatious and knows how to flirt. She's not a good person at first glance. Qin Lu said unwillingly. Never mind, I'm going to sell pills, not a beauty pageant. She's a famous figure in the Tang dynasty. I can't compare to the manager of the HSBC auction house. Jiang Chen smiled. If she knew that you don't have a master, she would probably want to marry you. You're a powerful being with great talent. You don't know how attractive you are. How charming are you? I dare say that your pill concoction skills are unparalleled on the entire Tianquan planet. Even cosmic cloud states are no match for you. Qin Lu looked at Jiang Chen with anticipation. Even I don't know that I'm this popular? Jiang Chen shrugged. You're wrong. I'm just interested in this woman's ability. Besides, it's you who told me about the HSBC auction house. The manager here is very powerful. In the whole Tang, even in the whole Tianquan star, this place is the most well-informed place. So if there's any news about Feng, I think she can only appear here. Jiang Chen said seriously. I know, brother Jiang Chen, I don't mean anything else. Don't be mad at me, okay? Qin Lu's heart was filled with mixed feelings. She was worried that big brother Jiang Chen would abandon her. After all, Tang Wan was so outstanding and there was no way she could compare with her. She couldn't help but feel inferior and disappointed. I know, hurry up and rest. It's getting late. The auction is in 2 days. Jiang Chen smiled. Nothing happened during the night. Jiang Chen had been cultivating silently for the past few days, waiting for the auction to begin. However, the person he was looking forward to the most was naturally Tang Wan, but it wasn't because of her. He was hoping that Tang Wan could bring him some exciting news. But clearly she didn't. Brother Jiang Chen, we should go to the auction. Chapter 5135. Jiang Chen followed Qin Lu to the HSBC auction house. Today was the day of the HSBC auction house's annual auction. The yearly auction was the grandest auction held once a year. This time the auction house attracted a lot of people. There were hundreds of thousands of people. The entrance of the HSBC auction house was crowded with people waiting to take their seats. The annual auction of the HSBC auction house is so lively. Every year there are so many people coming from all over the world. I've come all the way from the Central Plains. I hope that the yearly auction won't disappoint me. Do you know where I came from? I came from the Woodland Star. I heard that the annual auction of the HSBC auction house is one of the biggest events within 100,000 light years. That's right. The annual auction of the HSBC auction house will not disappoint you. Every year many people come to the HSBC auction house. Because of that, the HSBC auction house is getting bigger and bigger. There are guests from all over the world, including countless star wanderers. As long as they get their hands on something good, they will come here to sell it. That's right. As one of the top 3 hubs in the Sky Tyrant starfield, the Tianquan star has a lot of information and resources. Countless people sighed. They were waiting to enter the viewing area at the foot of the HSBC auction house. When Jiang Chen and Qin Lu arrived, Gong Lianqing recognized them immediately and ran towards them. Mr. Jiang Chen, this way please. This is the HSBC auction house's VIP channel. Our mistress has prepared the best viewing area for you. Gong Lianqing said with a smile. He who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions. Qin Lu murmured and curled her lips. I'm just doing this out of goodwill. Jiang Qin pointed at the sea of people. There were tens of thousands of people. It was definitely not easy for them to be able to enter the VIP passage. Both of you please. Gong Lianqing smiled. Bulu, is that really you? A surprised voice sounded beside Jiang Qin and Qin Lu's ears. A tall and handsome young man with a well-built body appeared in front of them. He was dressed in a luxurious robe and looked very handsome. Young Master Zhou is here. Gong Lianqing nodded and said. Obviously, he knew the young master in front of him. Young Master Zhou. Qin Lu nodded her head, her brows tightly knitted together. From the looks of it, she did not seem to be too fond of this young Master Zhou. When young Master Zhou saw Jiang Qin, his face turned cold. What right does this guy have to stand beside Lulu? Who is he? Zhou Haoran's anger soared. His face darkened and Qin Lu's attitude towards him made him even angrier. It was definitely because of this bastard. Back then Qin Lu had never treated him like this. I'm from the Zhou clan of the main hall. Who are you? Who do you think you are to stand beside Lulu? Lulu is the goddess in my heart. Who do you think you are? Zhou Haoran's face was cold as he scolded Jiang Qin. Young Master Zhou, this is an honored guest of our HSBC auction house. Today is the day of the annual auction. Young Master Zhou, please go first. Gong Lianqing said with a smile. How would he dare to offend young Master Zhou? The Zhou clan was one of the 4 great clans of Great Tang, and Zhou Haoran was the eldest son of the Zhou clan. In the entire Great Tang he could do whatever he wanted. Who would dare to say no to him? But from the looks of it he was still holding a grudge against Qin Lu. This Jiang Qin seemed to be giving him a sore in his eyes. Jiang Qin looked at him coldly. You know this mad dog? Jiang Qin frowned. Not familiar. Qin Lu shook her head. Hearing Qin Lu saying that they were not familiar, Zhou Haoran was instantly enraged. He must kill this bastard. How dare you scold me? Zhou Haoran glared at Jiang Qin and said. What, you mad dog, are you deaf? Jiang Qin smiled. PFFF, Qin Lu's smile could topple a city. She looked at brother Jiang Qin with a smirk. Bastard. How dare you scold my young master? I think you're courting death. I don't care who you are. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and kowtow to my young master. If my young master is in a good mood, he might even leave you with an intact corpse. Before Zhou Haoran could speak, the guard beside him was already fuming. Master hasn't said anything yet. Where did this mad dog come from? You're indeed jackals of the same tribe. Humph. Jiang Chen's face was cold as he stared at Zhou Haoran. You're courting death. The guard flew into a rage out of humiliation and looked at Zhou Haoran. Zhou Haoran waved his hand, indicating for him to stay put. Young Master Zhou, this Mr. Jiang Qin is also our esteemed guest. Please be magnanimous. Gong Lianqing felt bitter in his heart. No matter if it was Jiang Qin or this young Master Zhou, he couldn't afford to offend either of them. He thought coming here to pick up Mr. Jiang Qin would be a good job, but in the end he found out that both of them were in conflict. What should he do? If it wasn't for your HSBC auction house, do you think he would still be standing here talking to me? Zhou Haoran said with an indifferent expression. Yes. Gong Lianqing smiled apologetically. However, I gave you face today, but he didn't give me face. Interesting. In the entire Tang dynasty, there aren't many people who dare to speak to me like this. Who do you think you are? Do you think that I won't dare to touch you just because you're at the HSBC auction house? Zhou Haoran said with a sinister expression. Zhou Haoran, what are you trying to do? Qin Lu said angrily. What am I trying to do? Of course I want to be with you, Lulu. I feel disgusted to see such a man standing beside you. This kind of trash isn't worthy of you. Which part of me isn't better than him? In terms of background, strength and talent, I, Zhou Haoran, am confident that I'm 10 times better than him. However, you actually chose to be with such trash. You really make my heart ache. Zhou Haoran's face was full of sorrow, but he still put on a righteous look. It's not up to you to comment on who I'm with. This is my freedom. Who do you think you are to me? Please shut your mouth and don't spout nonsense. Zhou Haoran, if you continue to be like this, I'm afraid that we can't even be friends. Qin Lu's expression darkened. She glanced at her brother Jiang Qin. Brother Jiang Qin was also very angry. His gaze was sharp. She hated this mad dog from the bottom of her heart. However, there was nothing she could do. Who asked them to meet here? Zhou Xian had always been pestering her, but she really didn't care about him at all. Other than me, no one can be with you. Whoever stands beside you, whoever stands in front of me, I will kill them. The heavens are no exception. There's no woman that I, Zhou Xian, can't obtain. Qinlu, I advise you not to be so ungrateful. Otherwise you'll definitely regret it. Today I'll make him die without a grave. I'll let you know just whose territory Tang dynasty is. Chapter 5136. Zhou Xian was filled with disgust towards Jiangchen. Qinlu was the woman he liked and she could only be his woman. This fellow was simply too much of an eyesore. As one of the few young masters of the Great Tang, there was no need to doubt Zhou Xian's status. Only he was worthy of Qinlu. The two of them had crossed paths many years ago. One of them was a big shot in the western border while the other was the young master of the Tang Empire. However, the Tang Empire's status and power were obviously stronger than the western border. For Zhou Xian to like Qinlu, it must be a piece of cake for him. No one could make him lower his head and no one could take away the woman he wanted. Those who stand in my way will die. You better think about it. Some women can't be touched just because you want to. Otherwise you're doomed to die without a burial place. Zhou Xian looked down at Jiangchen from above. He didn't put Jiangchen in his eyes at all. Jiangchen's strength was at most on par with his, but Zhou Xian's strength was extremely terrifying in the entire Great Tang. If he wanted Jiangchen to die here, he could do it. It seems like you're determined to kill me? Jiangchen was so angry that he laughed. He looked at Zhou Xian and thought, this guy is really simple-minded. There's another way. Kneel and kowtow to admit your mistake and I'll leave your corpse intact. Otherwise I'll grind your bones to ashes. Zhou Xian didn't care about Gong Lianqing at the side. His eyes met Jiangchen's. Blades and swords flashed and the killing intent of life and death filled the air. Many people around them looked at them silently with mixed feelings. It seems that this guy is finished. Of all people, he had to provoke Zhou Xian. Yeah, this guy is almost invincible in the Tang Empire. Who would dare to offend him? This guy must be an outsider. He's sacrificing himself for a woman. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. That's right. If it were me, I would have run away the moment I saw Zhou Xian. This guy still dares to confront Zhou Xian. He must be tired of living. Humph. Maybe he has the confidence? What if he's the young master of some big family? Wouldn't there be a good show to watch? Many people sneered at the side. This woman was very beautiful, but in the eternal world, there would never be a lack of beautiful women. What was lacking was strength. As long as you were strong enough, there would be countless women willing to follow you and serve you. Obviously, this young man didn't know this and still wanted to fight with Zhou Xian to the end. He didn't even know where he was. Creating trouble in the human world, wasn't this clearly showing that he didn't want to live? Everyone shook their heads. They were very clear about Jiangchen's ending. Behind Zhou Xian were 4 peak 8th heavenly layer star realm experts. Who would dare to go against such a formation? If it was an ordinary person, they would have been scared to the point of wetting their pants. It was undeniable that Jiangchen was very strong. However, in the eyes of the people around, Jiangchen was like a newborn calf that didn't fear tigers. Moreover, Zhou Xian was notorious. If he knew about Zhou Xian's temper, he definitely wouldn't fight him to the death. Sure enough, a femme fatale was just like that, saying, "Brother Jiangchen, let's go." "Don't stoop to his level," Qinlu said softly. She was also very worried that Brother Jiangchen would be threatened by this guy and get hurt. After all, this wasn't the western border. As one of the 4 largest families in the Tang of the East, the Zhou family was very powerful. It wasn't something the Qin family could compare to. After all, the Tang of the East was much larger than the western border. There were many strong people and countless interstellar wanderers. This was the real hodgepodge. To be able to survive in the Tang of the East and stand at the top, one could only imagine his strength. Do you think he can leave now? Qinlu, I can let you go, but that doesn't mean I'll let the trash beside you go. If I kill him, it'll be as easy as pie. Are you still stubborn? How can a piece of trash like him be a match for you? Zhou Xian's face was filled with a look of infatuation, causing Qinlu to feel disgusted. This fellow had harmed countless women and she had long since heard of it. But now he actually put on an attitude as if he wanted to fly away with her, causing her to feel disdain in her heart. However, the situation was tense. Moreover, the 4 experts behind Zhou Xian were very cautious and could attack at any time. Watch how I deal with him. I don't believe that you really like Qinlu. Today I'll let you know what true strength is. Zhou Xian stepped forward with a vigorous aura. His face was extremely cold. He was aiming to kill Jiangqin with one blow. Once he killed Jiangqin, he would be Qinlu's man. At this moment, no one had expected Zhou Xian to be so ferocious. Many people could not help but exclaim in surprise. Even in a place like the Tang of the East, Zhou Xian, who was at the peak of the star level 8, was still an outstanding expert. Not everyone was a top genius. Zhou Xian's attack had caused the crowd to be extremely cautious. It seemed like a light strike, but it contained all of Zhou Xian's strength. It went straight towards Jiangqin with a devastating force. Countless people's expressions changed when they saw the terrifying force that came crashing down on them. Qinlu, who bore the brunt of the blow, also had a slight change in her expression. She did not expect Zhou Xian to be so unreasonable. He actually attacked at the HSBC auction house. No, young Master Zhou. Gong Lianqing's face was full of bitterness. However, he could not control the blow of such an expert. Although Qinlu was shocked, she did not panic. She knew that big brother Jiangqin's strength would definitely not lose to Zhou Xian. However, Zhou Xian's action undoubtedly made everyone present cheer. Many people loved to watch a good show, especially when the hero saved the damsel in distress. It made many people's blood boil with excitement. At this moment, Jiangqin finally moved. Just as Zhou Xian's fist was about to land in front of Jiangqin did not hold back. He punched out like lightning and met Zhou Xian's fist. That feeling shocked countless people. Bang! A deep sound rang in everyone's ears. If it was not for the power of the two of them counteracting the terrifying domineering aura, everyone around them would have been affected. Zhou Xian punched with all his strength, but when his fist landed on Jiangqin's fist, his heart sank to the bottom of the valley. He had originally thought that even if his punch could not kill Jiangqin with his strength, it would not be a problem for him to injure him. However, he was wrong. He was the one who suffered the backlash of this punch. The terrifying power spread throughout his body, causing him to tremble and take 10 steps back. At that moment, Zhou Xian's face was full of anger and shock. However, he was still defeated. In their first confrontation, when two fists collided, he was actually forced back by Jiangqin. The crowd at the scene was in an uproar. This ordinary-looking young man was not afraid of the young master of the Zhou clan at all, and had even forced him back with a single punch. It was too domineering. Chapter 5137. An ice-cold, sonorous female voice with boundless majesty rang out in everyone's ears. At this moment, a beautiful figure dressed in red leisurely walked over. Everyone was intimidated by her. There was nothing but respect in their eyes. This was because in the entire Tang dynasty, even the top experts would not dare to make an enemy out of this woman. Zhou Xian's face fell instantly. Even if his father was here, he might not have the guts to confront her. Zhou Xian's angry face was instantly replaced by a smile. Miss Tang, what are you talking about? How would I dare to cause trouble in your territory? I'm just joking. Zhou Xian did not dare to look at Tang Wan at all. He smiled. If he chose to confront Tang Wan now, the 4 big families would probably start a war. This stunning woman could be said to be the most famous person in the Tang dynasty of the East. This was because she was in charge of the entire HSBC auction house. As someone feared by all the astral realms within 100,000 light years, Zhou Xian did not dare to show any anger towards Tang Wan. Otherwise he would be courting death. This guy doesn't know what's good for him. I just wanted to teach him a lesson. That's why you came out, Miss Tang. Zhou Xian looked indifferent. I don't think so. Qinlu said in a low voice. That's the truth. My guards can testify to that. Zhou Xian said shamelessly. Jiangqin sneered in his heart. If he had met this piece of trash outside of the HSBC auction house, he would have dealt with him long ago. How could he have allowed him to act tough until now? However, he was in someone else's territory and it was in the unfamiliar Tang dynasty. Therefore, Jiangqin chose to treat him coldly. After all, he still needed to rely on Tang Wan to find his phone. Your words are getting more and more boring. Tang Wan coldly looked at Zhou Xian. Her beautiful eyes flickered, but it wasn't joy. Instead, it was disdain for Zhou Xian. If it wasn't for the Zhou family, she would have already kicked Zhou Xian out of the auction house. Zhou Xian scratched his head and instantly became a well-behaved man. In front of Tang Wan, he did not have the capital to act pretentious. Although Tang Wan was so beautiful and could make people drool, he did not dare to have the slightest bit of covetous thoughts. In the past there was a person who did not know the immensity of the heavens and the earth who molested Tang Wan, and in the end his entire clan was exterminated. This matter caused quite a stir in the entire Tang Empire, so for Zhou Xian, this was a hot potato. She was definitely a thorny rose and it was better to stay away from her. Even the Zhou clan, one of the 4 great clans, didn't want to become enemies with the HSBC auction house. This was because their strength was simply too great and too diverse. They could easily attract countless powers, and this woman didn't dare to take it lightly. Mr. Zhongchen is my esteemed guest. If you dare to disrespect him, then don't blame me for being impolite, Tang Wan said. Tang Wan said in a deep voice. This Zhou Xian really didn't know what kind of person Zhongchen was. She didn't know what kind of person Zhongchen was, but she knew that the person behind Zhongchen was at least a half-step nebula expert. She didn't want to offend such a person. If his master was stronger, even the entire Great Tang would have to be wary of him. Therefore in Tang Wan's heart, Zhongchen was still very important. His status wasn't something that Zhou Xian could compete with. Haha, isn't this a case of water rushing against the temple of the Dragon King? Family doesn't know each other. I've sinned. Since that's the case, there's nothing more to say. Miss Tang, I apologize for this matter. Zhou Xian laughed. He was slightly shocked. This Chen Lu definitely didn't have this status. Who was this person? To be able to make Tang Wan treat him so seriously, could it be that this guy was really some kind of expert? Or could it be that the power behind him was terrifying? Tang Wan's status didn't need to be mentioned, but Zhou Xian was very curious about this Jiang Chen. Thinking about how Chen Lu bowed to him and called him big brother, Zhou Xian felt that this guy really did have some power. Otherwise, why would this woman listen to him? The auction is about to start. Hurry up and get in. Tang Wan glared at Zhou Xian. Zhou Xian shrugged and quickly entered the auction. However, when Zhou Xian looked at Jiang Chen, his eyes became colder. No matter who you are, I won't let you have a good time in my territory. Jiang Chen, I'll remember you. I'm really sorry, Mr. Jiang Chen. I asked old Gong to come pick you up, but I didn't expect this to happen. Tang Wan looked at Jiang Chen apologetically. It's fine. I believe Miss Tang also wants to see my power, right? Otherwise you would have appeared a long time ago, right? Jiang Chen said bluntly. Tang Wan was stunned and blushed. This Jiang Chen actually discovered me? Jiang Chen's words made Tang Wan feel awkward, but it was also a warning to her. Don't try to spy on me. I already know of your existence. Tang Wan smiled bitterly in her heart. It seemed that she was the clown. She thought that everything was under her control, but in the end she was slapped in the face. Jiang Chen's smile made Tang Wan feel even more helpless. This person isn't simple. Although she was a star level 9, she couldn't see through Jiang Chen. Moreover, Jiang Chen discovered her. This was the scariest thing. This person's master must be even more terrifying. This person must not be her enemy. Tang Wan had been managing the HSBC auction house all these years. She knew better than anyone that it was very difficult to make a friend. However, if you want to offend someone, it could be done in an instant. Opening a business, one naturally had to do everything well. I'm sorry for being rude. Mr. Jiang Chen, please. Tang Wan nodded and made a gesture of invitation. But this caused countless people to exclaim in admiration. Who is Tang Wan? How could this guy be treated like this by Tang Wan? He definitely wasn't an ordinary person. The two beauties on the side made countless people envious. Okay. Jiang Chen followed Chen Lu into the auction. At this moment, Tang Wan's expression became more and more playful. A person who could turn the tide of the war at Shijiang was obviously extraordinary. However, Tang Wan didn't know the full story. News of Jiang Chen indeed reached her ears, but it only turned the tide of the war. There was no news of him defeating a half-step cosmic cloud state. If she knew that Jiang Chen defeated a half-step cosmic cloud state, perhaps Tang Wan would respect Jiang Chen even more. Chapter 5138. Looks like this Miss Tang really cares about you. Look at so many people who was personally welcomed by her. You're a big shot, brother Jiang Chen. Chen Lu looked at Jiang Chen with a faint smile. You're wrong. I'm not flirting with her. I'm here for treasure hunting, it has nothing to do with her. But if I have the chance to see this Zhou Xian again, I'll definitely chop him into pieces. Jiang Chen said lung lung. Qin Lu's smile faded when she saw Jiang Chen's dark expression. She felt rather guilty. I'm sorry, brother Jiangchen. It's all my fault. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have been put in such a difficult position by Zhou Xian. Qin Lu didn't expect to meet Zhou Xian here. Not only did Zhou Xian keep pestering her, but more importantly he had also dragged her big brother Jiangchen into this and he was almost injured. Qin Lu's heart was filled with anxiety, and she felt guilty towards her big brother Jiangchen. Silly girl, I'm not angry at you. That bastard is a hooligan. Why bother with him? If I see him again I won't let him off. Jiangchen smiled and patted Qin Lu's head. Qin Lu curled her lips. Her heart was filled with sweetness. As long as brother Jiangchen isn't angry at me it's fine. Brother Jiangchen, thank you. Qin Lu said with a smile. She calmed herself down. At this moment she could finally relax. Gong Lianqing arranged the best VIP seats for the two of them. Not far from them was Zhou Xian. There weren't many people in the VIP section, but there were still more than 1,000 of them. After all, the Great Tang Empire was a place where experts gathered. They weren't the only ones with high statuses. Since the HSBC auction house was open for business, they must have made friends with many big shots. As for the people below the stands, there were more than 200,000 to 300,000 people. It was an unimaginable number. There was a hubbub of voices. This was the first time that Jiangchen had seen such a grand auction. Its scale was unprecedented. The auction hadn't started yet, but there was still a lot of noise. Many people had come prepared. After all, the annual auction was held by the HSBC auction house. Many people might not be able to make it in time. Although it was held once a year, there were too many treasures that passed through the HSBC auction house every year. Who wouldn't be envious? Therefore, every year's annual auction would be a grand banquet. In less than a quarter of an hour, a beautiful girl wearing a white qipao stood at the center of the mountain. Within 100 meters of her, there was an empty space, and she was the only one standing at the center with a smile on her face. She was like a white rose in full bloom, full of sunshine. Esteemed guests, friends from the 5 lakes and 4 seas, hello everyone, I am your chief auctioneer tonight, Cloud. It's my pleasure to be the chief auctioneer of the annual auction. Today our HSBC auction house will be auctioning a total of 300 treasures. Each of them was carefully selected by us. Furthermore, there will be 3 treasures that are exactly the same today. The first one will be the same and the first one will also be the same. I'm sure it'll be a surprise for everyone. Before Cloud finished speaking, countless people raised their heads in anticipation. 3 treasures that are exactly the same? This made them even more curious. The rarer something is, the greater its value. 3 treasures at once. How can they be auctioned for a high price? Are they trying to make fun of us? It's hard to say. There are so many treasures, how can they all be treasures? I came all the way from planet Juhua. Could it be that I've been scammed? Could it be that the HSBC auction house is not as good as before? That's hard to say. No one knows what they are. I think we should wait and see. I want to see what kind of tricks this HSBC auction house has up their sleeves. 3 treasures at once and they want us to bid for them? Are they trying to fool us? More and more people started to doubt the HSBC auction house. After all, the HSBC auction house was rich and imposing. How could they have so many similar treasures? How could they whet the appetite of the crowd? There were 200,000 to 300,000 people and there were only 300 items. In other words, only 1 out of 1,000 people would be able to get a treasure. This ratio was quite low. Moreover, some people didn't come for the treasures. The annual auction was always filled with treasures. It was the most prosperous time for the HSBC auction house. Logically speaking, they wouldn't want to ruin their reputation. I wonder what kind of treasures will come across this time. Brother Jiangchen, you're a rich man now. There are many treasures in the HSBC auction house. You have to keep your eyes open. Qin Lu said with a smile. She was also very curious about this year's annual auction. She had participated in the annual auction of the HSBC auction house before, but that was many years ago. It was her father who brought her here. I won't be lenient with treasures like jade slips. Jiangchen nodded. At this moment Yun Duo's loud and clear voice once again boomed across the entire mountain peak. Friends, the auction has officially begun. Please remain silent. Anyone who dares to cause trouble will be killed without mercy, said Yun Duo with a faint smile. However, her voice was transmitted to the entire mountain peak through the surging Genesis chi. She seemed to be speaking casually, but her words were filled with domineering authority. Anyone who dared to cause trouble at the HSBC auction house was courting death. Even Zhou Xian, the eldest young master of one of the 4 great clans of Great Tang, did not have the ability or courage to do so. Next, I will be unveiling the mysterious veil of the first auction item. Let's welcome the first auction item. After Yun Duo finished speaking, a slim and elegant young elf girl carefully carried a tray and presented it. Why are they acting so mysterious? What exactly is this? And they're even bringing out 3 at once. Do they think everyone is a fool? At this time there were still people whispering amongst themselves. However, the majority chose to believe in the HSBC auction house as they watched in anticipation. Yun Duo gently unveiled the mysterious veil of the treasure. What appeared before them was a pill. This is not an ordinary pill. I believe that everyone present should have already smelled a faint medicinal fragrance that refreshes one's heart, right? This is a grade 9 pill, the Great Recovery Pill. Even a nebula state expert can instantly recover over 50% of their Genesis chi. I believe it goes without saying how precious such a pill is, right? If an ordinary star state expert eats this pill, they will instantly recover their battle power. It's the same as having an extra life. Don't you think such a treasure is precious? Before Yun Duo's voice faded, gasps of surprise immediately rang out. Many people knew that they had indeed underestimated the HSBC auction house. A top-tier pill like the Great Recovery Pill was something that could only be encountered by luck. Moreover, every single one of them was extremely rare. Moreover, they were auctioning 3 this time. It was one of the 101st auction items, and it was also one of the 201st auction items. Oh right, I forgot to tell you that this grade 9 Great Recovery Pill is a 10-rune pill. Chapter 5139. 10-rune Great Huan Pill? How could this be? Everyone's eyes glowed with greed as they stared at the legendary 10-patterned pill. That's right. This was a 10-rune pill that only appeared in the legends, and it was a level 9 Great Huan Pill. How terrifying was this pill? Even though it was only a one-time consumption pill, it was important to know that this pill could save one's life. In this way it was quite worth it. Even an extremely powerful divine weapon might not have such a value. Divine weapons might be damaged too. It could increase one's combat power, but it might not be able to help one during critical moments. The effects of a pill could only be reflected in a life and death situation. 10-rune Great Huan Pill? How is this possible? Not to mention seeing it, I haven't even heard of it. Is there really someone who can refine such a pill? Hard to say. I don't know either. This pill is too insane. Even cosmic cloud states can recover their combat power rapidly? Is this for real? 10-rune pill. That's a 10-rune pill. Even if it's a collector's item, it would definitely be a treasure. You guys are really short-sighted. How can it be fake? If the HSBC auction house had a fake item, wouldn't it be disastrous? Why don't you think before speaking? That's right. Brains are a good thing. Too bad you guys don't have it. This item is definitely a treasure that can only be found once in 10,000 years. Plus there are 3 of them at once. 3 auction items. This is really tempting. It's a king right off the bat. This year's annual auction is destined to have quite a lot of treasures. 10-rune Great Huan Pill. Oh my, it's time for us to fight for it. This pill definitely isn't something ordinary people can afford. But, since I've encountered it, I definitely won't let it go. The HSBC auction house isn't lying to me. Countless people were looking forward to the 10 marks Great Rejuvenating Pill. Everyone wanted an extra life. Everyone wanted the Great Rejuvenating Pill. However, there was only one pill. From the initial doubts to the current excitement, everyone became excited. Even though the Great Cyclic Pill wasn't something that everyone could obtain, the anticipation and excitement were hard to conceal. Even Cloud, who was standing on the stage, was blushing. More and more people had lost their initial doubts. Instead, their eyes were shining brightly. His mouth was unwilling, but his body was honest. There were at least 1,000 people who were interested in this 10 marks Great Rejuvenating Pill. Of course, it was not that the rest of the people were not interested, but their wallets did not allow it. This was a good thing that could make people palpitate with eagerness. However, many people did not have the courage to do so, nor did they have so much money. Such a treasure would definitely not be cheap. Being short of money, they could only watch helplessly. However, many people were curious. What kind of price would this 10 marks Great Huan pill sell for? Tang Wan, who was standing in the corner, had a knowing smile on her face. She was the one who came up with this idea. If there was only one Great Huan pill, it would definitely cause countless people to fight over it. However, if 3 appeared at the same time, the price would definitely not be low. Many people were looking forward to it. The most important thing was that the opening had given her an unexpected result. The whole crowd started to get excited. Although every year's auction would earn a lot of money, there had never been such a grand occasion. A 10 marks Great Rejuvenating Pill had brought everyone to a climax. This 10 rune Great Huan pill is mine. Don't you dare fight me for it. Zhou Xian said with a face full of excitement. This pill was really compatible with him. He had always been looking for a true peerless pill. This pill was simply tailor-made for him. That's not necessarily true. Since young Master Zhou likes it so much, others will definitely like it too. When the time comes, it will all depend on who has the ability to obtain it. Since young Master Zhou wants it, I won't snatch it away from you. Old dog Wu, you must be poor. Everyone in the VIP seats laughed. These people were all people who stood at the peak of the Great Tang. In any case, this pill is mine. Zhou Xian muttered to himself. He clenched his fists tightly and was full of confidence. However, Zhou Xian was definitely not the only one who wanted this 10 rune Great Huan pill. However, it would definitely be a glorious thing for anyone to come out on top. Although there were 3 10 rune Great Huan pills, the first one was the most important. The price of the first pill would directly determine the price of the second and third pills. There was more than one person who wanted this pill. Now more and more people were waiting for the start of the auction. They couldn't wait any longer. Big brother Jiangchen, it seems like your pill is really popular. Qin Lu said with a smile. Her face was flushed red. It could be seen that the value of this pill was enough to make many people go crazy. After all, this pill was something that could only be found by luck. Seeing that everyone is so enthusiastic, I won't keep you in suspense. Next, I will announce that this year's autumn auction has officially begun. The first item is our 10 rune 9th grade Great Huan pill. The starting price is 800,000 9th grade origin stones. Cloud said with a smile. When the starting price was set at 800,000 9th grade origin stones, she had been shocked. However, Miss Tang had said that this price was only the starting price and that more and more people would definitely rush over. Now that she saw their enthusiasm, perhaps that was not necessarily the case. A 10 rune 9th grade Great Huan pill and a 10 rune 9th grade Great Huan pill. The auction instantly reached its peak. 800,000 9th grade origin stones? Isn't that too expensive? Yeah, it's so expensive. I can't afford it. You're thinking too much. They didn't even consider whether you can afford it. Those who can afford it don't care about the price. They only care about the value. That's right. You're too shallow. You're not even in their consideration. How can you bully people like that? Your words are too hurtful. The crowd roared with laughter. However, at this time they still made up the majority of the crowd. Many people shook their heads inwardly. It seemed like this 9th grade Great Huan pill was destined to have no fate with them. Only the true elites with enough origin stones could participate in the auction. 800,000 9th grade origin stones was a price that people below the 5th level of the star realm would not have to worry about because they were not worthy. 850,000. Although many people thought it was too expensive and many people flinched at the sight of it, there would never be a shortage of rich people in this world. 870,000. 910,000. 920,000. 950,000. I bid 1 million. Chapter 5140. Cloud's eyes were filled with surprise. It seemed that Miss Tang's foresight wasn't something that she could compare with. Her methods were too brilliant, and her control over the price and people's hearts was far beyond that of an ordinary person. A 9th grade Great Revitalizing pill was as rare as a phoenix's feather or a unicorn's horn. Moreover, a 10-mark pill was even rarer. Therefore, this pill became a godly existence. How could it not attract attention? Some people treated it as a life-saving pill, some as a symbol of status and some as a collector's item. In short, the dominance of this 10-rune pill was different. 1,050,000. 1,080,000. 1,100,000. The popularity of the Great Recovery pill didn't die down. Instead, it was getting higher and higher. This also happened to heat up the place, making the people at the scene more enthusiastic. What's the point of increasing by tens of thousands? This great recovery pill, Darkwood King must get it. 1,200,000. A big man with a curly beard said with a domineering face. He gently stroked his beard, full of dominance. 1,200,000? Are you sure you can get it? I've said before, this 10-rune great recovery pill belongs to me. Zhou Xian glanced at Darkwood King. As one of the top experts in Tang Dynasty, Darkwood King wasn't simple, but compared to the Zhou family, he paled in comparison. 1,300,000. However, Darkwood King wasn't an ordinary person. Although Zhou Xian wasn't simple, he wasn't someone to be trifled with. He also had an extraordinary identity. Here it didn't matter how powerful you were or how high your status was. As long as you had money, you would be a distinguished guest of the HSBC auction house. Obviously, Zhou Xian was still immersed in his identity as a young master, but Darkwood King didn't buy it. Do you think I'm afraid of you? 1,400,000. Darkwood King coldly snorted. 1,500,000. If you have the ability, follow me. Zhou Xian crossed his arms in front of his chest with an indifferent expression on his face. To him, the value of this great revitalizing pill was extremely high. Moreover, it wasn't something that just anyone could get their hands on. He had to get this pill no matter what. Big brother Jiangchen, look, the price of these pills is skyrocketing. I want to take my pills out and sell them. Qin Lu said excitedly. This price was too outrageous. 5 million grade 9 source stones was an astronomical figure for a 7th firmament star like her. Very few people were able to accumulate a wealth of 1 million grade 9 origin stones. Only a large corporation or an extremely powerful individual would be able to do so. Tangwan is not simple. She knows how to manage people. If there are too many, it will affect the price, and if there are too few, it will cause a large-scale riot. That's not a good sign. 3 is just right. There will be countless people fighting over it, and it won't offend any big shots. It will all depend on their own financial resources, and those who are capable will get it. Jiang Qin pondered and said. Qin Lu pursed her lips. You're praising me again, but I might not praise you like that. 6 million. The Darkwood King clenched his teeth. He was already close to his limit. It wasn't that he couldn't take out that much money, but the price had far exceeded his expectations. Although this great recovery pill was precious, it wasn't enough to make him spend all his money. However, it was different for Zhou Xian. He was rich and willful. This was the label of the young master of the Zhou clan, one of the 4 great clans. 7 million. Zhou Xian said faintly. At this moment, the entire crowd became solemn and silent. As a member of the Zhou clan, Zhou Xian was rich and overbearing. This made it impossible for anyone to continue competing with him. This price could only be described with one word: outrageous. At this moment, the Darkwood King could only grit his teeth and snort coldly. He had completely lost his initial sharpness. This price was indeed too high for him to continue bidding. Is there anyone who bids higher than young Master Zhou? 7 million grade 9 source stones going once. 7 million grade 9 source stones going twice. 7 million grade 9 source stones. Cloud said with a smile. Her eyes were shining. However, her words were interrupted by someone. 8 million. Jiangchen said. At this time he had also attracted the attention of the entire crowd. Was the real battle just beginning? However, at this time many people's blood was boiling. The first item of the auction already made their hearts beat faster. This kind of feeling was too good. They couldn't help but feel their hearts beating faster. The price climbed to new heights. Although they weren't the ones bidding, it was still a very shocking thing to see others easily increase the price by 100,000 grade 9 source stones. The corner of Jiang Chen's mouth curved upwards. The great recovering pill was being auctioned off like a raging fire. How could he not interfere? Moreover, Zhou Xian was his mortal enemy. At this time he had to add fuel to the fire. Who is this guy? Why haven't I seen him before? Where did he come from? Is he also an interstellar wanderer? He actually has the strength to compete with Zhou Xian. Not simple. Never heard of him. However, he doesn't look like someone easy to deal with. He's definitely an expert. Otherwise, why would he dare to challenge Zhou Xian? This is interesting. However, the price of this great recovery pill is too terrifying. It really makes people feel uneasy. The emperor is not anxious, but the eunuch is. What are you anxious about? Their challenge has only just begun. This was not just a competition of money, but also a competition of status. Most importantly, in Zhou Xian's eyes, Jiang Qin was a thorn in his flesh. Furthermore, he had underestimated Jiang Qin. If he allowed Jiang Qin to suppress him, wouldn't he be ridiculed by others? At this time, Zhou Xian would definitely not be afraid. I'm the young master of one of the 4 great clans. Why would I be afraid of you? What a joke. Looks like you want to show off in front of Qinlu. Unfortunately, you don't have the strength to do so. Today I must obtain this great recovery pill. Zhou Xian's face was full of confidence as he said proudly. However, at this time Gong Lianqing was a little dumbfounded. Isn't this pill sold by Mr. Jiang Qin? Why is he still bidding here? What is going on? Miss, look at this. Gong Lianqing looked at Tang Wan and did not know whether to laugh or cry. Looks like this Jiang Qin is not simple. Interesting. Although Tang Wan was surprised, she did not panic. She smiled at the bidding between Jiang Qin and Zhou Xian. She seemed to have discovered some clues. 2 million. I want to see how you can compete with me. Chapter 51-41. The two of them were already at loggerheads. Now there was no way they would back down. Even if their bones were crushed, Zhou Xian would definitely trample on Jiang Qin. 2 million. Jiang Qin said with a chuckle. Waves of exclamations could be heard from the surroundings. When they looked at Jiang Qin, their faces were filled with astonishment. It seemed like such a powerful expert had come prepared for this battle. Such wealth was not something an ordinary person could have. This person's background was definitely not simple. Zhou Xian was silent. Even he was a little afraid of these people. Did he really have that much money? Where did this kid come from? 4 million. When Zhou Xian looked at Qinlu, his confidence was even firmer. He could not lose. 5 million. Jiang Qin was still as calm as ever. Bastard. Zhou Xian's face darkened. At this point it was hard for him to back down. If he gave up on such a good opportunity, the Zhou clan would definitely be laughed at by others. But if he did not give up, the price was too high. He could accept it, but was a 10-mark pill really worth that much? 6 million. Zhou Xian took a deep breath. He kept reminding himself that this was definitely the last time he would raise the bid. Jiang Qin had already reduced the bid price to 5 million, which meant that he had reached his limit. Therefore if he bid 6 million, he would be able to win the bid. Watching the two of them continuously bidding, many people's adrenaline levels soared. This kind of auction was too exciting. Moreover, each time the price increased by 100 or 200,000 grade 9 origin stones. Even if it wasn't unprecedented, this auction was definitely the most exciting one in the past 10,000 years. But from the looks of it, the two of them were starting to hesitate. This item was finally going to be auctioned off. Forget it. I can't even win 5 million. Let's not fight anymore. Jiang Qin waved his hand, a helpless expression on his face. Do you think I'm afraid of you? You can't even win 5 million. I'll win it for you at 6 million. As long as this young master is here, you can only be second. Zhou Xian laughed loudly. 250? Wasn't that insulting? Young Master Zhou is being treated as an idiot. That's right. Young Master Zhou is still being complacent. This guy is too stupid. Did young Master Zhou fall into a trap? This movie is clearly saying that Zhou Xian is an idiot. While everyone was talking about it, Zhou Xian suddenly came to a realization. This Jiang Qin chose to retreat when the price was 5 million. He even said that even 5 million was not enough. Wasn't he pointing at the mulberry and scolding the locust? Zhou Xian was so angry that his face contorted. He glared at Jiang Qin. Although this pill was precious, it was almost double the premium price. Zhou Xian felt a stabbing pain in his heart. Jiang Qin, I'm not done with you. Zhou Xian's face was flushed red. This was too fucking embarrassing. 6 million? Are there any higher ones? Young Master Zhou bids 6 million. Yun Duo's face was flushed red. Who would have thought that the first Great Restore pill would be sold at such a sky-high price 6 million grade 9 origin stones. This price had probably caused 99% of the people present to shrink back in fear. 2. 6 million going once. 2. 6 million going twice. 2. 6 million going thrice. Sold. Cloud made the final decision and said with a bright smile. 2. 6 million for the Great Recovery Pill. Congratulations, young Master Zhou. Jiangqin said with a smile. Zhou Haoren's face was ashen. The corner of his mouth twitched. He was about to die from anger. This price had far exceeded his expectations. It had even exceeded 1 million grade 9 origin stones. Even a wealthy young master like Zhou Haoren felt his heart ache when he saw this. 2. 6 million 9th grade origin stones. Young Master Zhou is indeed young Master Zhou. We can't even catch up. Yes, young Master Zhou won first place. Not simple, not simple. Ah. What an idiot. No matter how valuable this pill is, how could it be worth this price? He has nowhere else to spend his money. You can't say that. Even if young Master Zhou likes it, you can't do anything about it. That's true. Money can't buy my happiness. We can't experience the life of the rich. Some sharp words from the crowd entered Zhou Haoren's ears. His face was filled with displeasure. Being able to bid for this Great Recovery Pill meant that he had a lot of face. However, he was a spendthrift. He had spent too many origin stones. You still haven't bid for me, right? It's useless to say anything else. You can only concede defeat in my hands. Zhou Haoren gritted his teeth. A cooked duck is still stubborn. At the end of the day, this pill is mine. Do you have one? You don't say. I do have one. Jiangqin took out a Great Recovery Pill. At this time, Zhou Haoren's face turned green. How did you get a Great Recovery Pill? Zhou Haoren was in disbelief. Miss Tang gave it to me, of course. After Jiangqin said that, he swallowed the pill on the spot. Zhou Haoren's eyes widened in shock. This thing is quite delicious. Feels so good after eating it. I feel so refreshed. It's so delicious. When you get the Great Recovery Pill, you can try it too. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. Jiangqin smacked his lips in satisfaction. Zhou Haoren's mouth twitched. He couldn't say a word. This is a fucking 6 million 10 rune Great Recovery Pill. You ate it like it's candy? And you feel so refreshed? Zhou Haoren almost fainted from anger because of Jiangqin. This bastard is too infuriating. Even if he was an idiot, he knew that this guy was playing with him. Moreover, he didn't want the Great Recovery Pill at all. He raised the price of the pill to make him pay. This bastard is too despicable. What is his relationship with Tang Wan? She actually gave him a Great Recovery Pill? This kind of favor isn't easy to return. Zhou Haoren was furious. However, he couldn't care less at this moment. If Jiangqin were to make a move next time, he would definitely cause trouble. I'll give him a taste of his own medicine. I definitely can't let this matter go. Moreover, Qin Lu's matter isn't over yet. The enmity between the two of them can be considered to have been completely formed. Brother Jiangqin, you're too awesome. Qin Lu gave a thumbs up and looked at Jiangqin. Zhou Haoren was stunned when he saw that Jiangqin ate the Great Recovery Pill on the spot. Did I just buy loneliness? The Great Recovery Pill is actually so worthless in Jiangqin's hands. However, he actually treated it as a divine pill. Isn't this obvious? He's just trash. Who asked him to provoke me? Then I'll play with him. Jiangqin smiled. At this time, Tang Wan, who was secretly observing this scene, was also shocked by Jiangqin. This guy really can't be underestimated. He's trapped Zhou Haoren alive. Interesting, really interesting. Following that, many treasures were auctioned off, but the highest price was the Great Cyclic Pellet. The second highest was a divine weapon, which was sold for 730,000 grade 9 origin stones. It wasn't a low price either. Chapter 5142. As time passed, more and more treasures were auctioned. In the end, the second Great Recovery Pill was also sold for 1,750,000 grade 9 origin stones, but it was not as grand as the first Great Recovery Pill. After all, Jiangqin had purposely set a trap for Zhou Haoren. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to reach such a high price. During this period of time, Jiangqin had been searching for the treasures he needed. He had to admit that he had seen all kinds of strange things, and most of them were things he had never seen before. However, they weren't very useful to him, so he didn't take any action. However, at this time Jiangqin discovered a problem. Zhou Xian had been silently watching him or even staring at him. Jiang Chen frowned. As the saying goes, don't be afraid of a thief stealing, but be afraid of a thief remembering. This guy was obviously up to no good. Jiang Chen had tricked him and he seemed to be looking for an opportunity to deal a fatal blow to Jiang Chen. Humph, little bastard, this young master will fight with you tonight. Let's see who will have the last laugh. Zhou Xian stood with his arms crossed, speaking frankly with assurance. His eyes were slightly narrowed, filled with gentleness. At this time, Jiang Chen actually started to call out a price. Jiang Chen saw a very good divine weapon. The starting price was 100,000 grade 9 origin stones. The price went up to 200,000 before gradually stabilizing, and no one continued to compete. 200,000 grade 9 origin stones, looks like this sword is going to be mine. Jiang Chen said with a smile. Yours? Dream on. At this time Zhou Xian had already fixed his eyes on Jiang Chen. His eyes were sinister. He definitely wouldn't let Jiang Chen get what he wanted. Coincidentally, I also like this sword. 210,000, I'll take it. Zhou Xian said with a smile. Jiang Chen frowned. There's no need to fight with me, right? Money can't buy anything. I like it, what can you do to me? Zhou Xian's face was cold. This guy is obviously against you, big brother Jiang Chen. At this time Chen Lu was also quite worried. Zhou Xian was rich and overbearing. If this fellow continued to go against big brother Jiang Chen, it would definitely not be a good thing. It doesn't matter. I've taken a fancy to this sword. I must have it. Jiang Chen said seriously. 220,000 grade 9 origin stones. Zhou Xian snorted and sneered. If you increase it like that, it's really too boring. 250,000. 300,000. Jiang Chen was not to be outdone. Looks like these two are really going to fight. The price of this sword is at most 200,000 grade 9 origin stones. Yeah, this is like a tortoise and a mung bean. Do they like each other? Higa. That's right, but it seems that this guy is not someone who is easy to deal with. He dares to go against young Master Zhou. This is not something that just anyone would dare to do. Zhou Gongzi is a tyrant of our great Tang. Opposing him is no different from seeking death. There's always someone who likes to run into the muzzle of a gun. This kid is going to go against Zhou Xian like this. Isn't he afraid that young Master Zhou will kill him? I've never heard of someone like him before. Quite a few people felt admiration for Jiang Chen. After all, Zhou Xian was not someone that just anyone would dare to directly confront. This guy was the little tyrant of the Great Tang. Fighting with him would definitely not end well. However, the bidding war between Jiang Chen and Zhou Xian was also quite lively. Many people were acting as if this matter had nothing to do with them, waiting to watch a good show. 400,000. What do you think? Add a bit more? Zhou Xian's eyebrows danced as he looked at Jiang Chen, his eyes filled with a feminine light. 500,000, I must obtain it. I advise you not to fight with me. Zhou Xian, you're not my match. Jiang Chen shook his head. The anger in Zhou Xian's heart surged. I'm not your match. Little brat, I'll kill you. 800,000 grade 9 origin stones. I'll take it. Zhou Xian was not inferior to Jiang Chen in the slightest. He could not lose face. You're just putting up a futile struggle. 1 million. Jiang Chen smiled. 1,500,000. Zhou Xian said. How domineering. Young Master Zhou is too domineering. Who do you think young Master Zhou is? He just won the first prize. 2,600,000 grade 9 origin stones for great cyclic pills. Face is more important than anything else. That's right, I support young Master Zhou ha. He's clearly nothing, so why does he have to fight with young Master Zhou? It seems like the two of them are at loggerheads and neither wants to take half a step back. There's going to be a good show to watch. It seems like this guy can't hold on much longer. The crowd was also very curious about Jiang Chen. Just who was this person that he dared to make life difficult for young Master Zhou time and time again? This was quite rare in the Great Tang. Why aren't you shouting anymore? Zhou Xian said confidently. 1,600,000. Jiang Chen clenched his teeth and said. Big brother Jiang Chen, stop shouting. Chen Lu's face was filled with worry. 2 million. How about it, are you still shouting? Don't let me see you being so useless. A man must be tough. Zhou Xian saw that Jiang Chen's face was turning green. At this moment he had no intention of continuing shouting. He was here to discuss Jiang Chen. Who asked him to disgust him? I'm not shouting anymore. I have no use for this thing. Since you like it so much, it's yours. Jiang Chen shrugged his shoulders and sighed. He said in an unconcerned manner. In an instant Zhou Xian was stunned. You, why aren't you shouting anymore? Why aren't you playing by the rules? Don't you like this divine weapon? Zhou Xian's mind was filled with a series of question marks, but he didn't expect Jiang Chen to leave in advance. With a gloomy expression, it was as if he didn't care about Zhou Xian at all, as if this had nothing to do with him. It's over. Zhou Xian's face was pale. He was tricked by that bastard Jiang Chen again. Bastard! Zhou Xian stared angrily at Jiang Chen. He wanted to tear him apart and eat his flesh. Damn! No way. Zhou Xian was tricked again. 2 million. That's 2 million grade 9 source stones. Oh my god. Even I, a level 8 star level, don't dare to look at it directly. So many source stones, even Zhou Xian wouldn't be able to handle it. Being tricked once was an accident. Being tricked twice means that this Zhou Xian is an idiot. The landlord's stupid son. When Qinlu looked at Jiang Chen, she was also tricked by his acting. She didn't expect big brother Jiang Chen to be so serious. It turned out that he was playing with her again. Big brother Jiang Chen, you're too vicious. But I like it. Qinlu blushed and covered her mouth as she giggled. Zhou Xian was so angry that his face had turned green. These two bastards had caused him to lose over 4 million grade 9 origin stones. Right now he didn't even have enough money in his pocket to use, and he had to buy them on credit. Chapter 5143. Zhou Xian's expression was extremely cold. He had become the target of ridicule because this was not the first time he had been fooled by Jiang Chen. If it happened again and again, there would be some problems with his brain. This was also the question that everyone was most confused about. Was Zhou Xian an idiot? However, many of them just wanted to watch a good show. Zhou Xian was used to being arrogant and domineering, so no one dared to provoke him. Now that he was being tricked by Jiang Chen, he felt extremely wronged in his heart. That was nearly 5 million 9th grade source stones. Who knew how many people would go crazy for it? The Great Recover pill was nothing. At least he had gained some face. Although the price was much higher, it was still something that he loved. However, this divine weapon was useless. It was used by Jiang Chen to deal with him. This was too shameful. From the beginning he had already made preparations. In order to cheat him, he had also spent a lot of money. Zhou Xian finally saw clearly that Jiang Chen had been scheming against him from the beginning. Although he had been planning how to deal with him, it was obvious that he was half a beat slower. Jiang Chen had taken the initiative and even suppressed him to the point that he had lost face. One should know that he was the most powerful young master of the 4 great clans in the Great Tang. He did not expect that he would be so vulnerable in front of Jiang Chen. Although it was just a battle of money, it was enough to see that this guy was not ordinary. Zhou Xian had now regarded Jiang Chen as his #1 enemy. He had underestimated Jiang Chen. He had been infatuated with Qinlu, but he did not expect to be slapped in the face by Jiang Chen. Any man would not be able to accept this, and this made him very angry. Everyone present looked at Zhou Xian as if they were looking at something strange. He naturally understood that he had spent 2 million on an item that was worth 200,000. Where else could he find such a spendthrift? Even Tang Wan, who was at the side, could not stop smiling. This Jiang Chen was really too interesting. He had completely played Zhou Xian in the palm of his hand. At this moment, Zhou Xian wanted to quickly kill Jiang Chen to relieve the hatred in his heart. However, this was the HSBC auction house and he couldn't do anything to him. I don't believe you can stay in the HSBC auction house for the rest of your life. Be a coward if you can. Zhou Xian's eyes were cold as he clenched his fists tightly. Big brother Jiang Chen, I think you have thoroughly offended Zhou Xian this time. We have to be careful in the future. Qinlu said in a low voice. It was all because of her big brother Jiang Chen that Zhou Xian was infected by this fly. How annoying. However, Zhou Xian's strength was not to be underestimated. He was one of the 4 great clans of Great Tang. Who could afford to offend him? Moreover, the Qin clan's influence was not here. They could only be extra careful. Don't worry, I'm not as weak as you think, and this guy has been eyeing me for a long time. If I don't retaliate, he will think that I'm a pushover. This time, let's see if he still dares to challenge me. Jiang Chen said with a smile. He did this to prepare for a rainy day. He was afraid that if he saw something he liked, Zhou Xian would fight with him for it. then he would suffer a great loss. Therefore he had to make the first move. Only by striking first would he be able to force others into a corner. This was also to guard against Zhou Xian. That fellow was arrogant and unruly and could do anything. Congratulations, young Master Zhou. You have won our treasure for 2 million. Yun Duo's voice was gentle and pleasant, but in Zhou Xian's ears, it was filled with anger. Zhangchen, I will not let you go even if I have to grind your bones into ashes. I will make you 2 cowards kneel in front of me and tremble. Zhou Xian's eyes were filled with anger, but there was nothing he could do. After all, the HSBC auction house was still going on. Zhangchen did not care about him at all. He could only ignore this mad dog. After a few more items, there was finally one that Zhangchen was interested in. It was the sky-green monkey. This was a very rare spiritual monkey. Although it looked like a monkey, its eyes were very cunning and sharp. When Zhangchen saw the sky-green monkey, he was shocked. This sky-green monkey actually had a small amount of star energy flowing in its body. Yes, it was star energy. Although it was not much, Zhangchen was sure that this sky-green monkey was not simple. This sky-green monkey is said to be from the Green On tribe. Its footprints were found on a small star at the edge of the Sky Tyrant star domain. It is said that the sky-green monkey is the most intelligent demonic beast. It would be the best choice to be trained as a spiritual pet or a mount. Cloud said with a smile on her face. Are you mesmerized by the host? Chen Lu said with a smile. Zhangchen smiled bitterly and rolled his eyes at Chen Lu. Why are you thinking about love? Do I love every one of them that I see? Isn't Tang Wan much prettier than her? I didn't even blink. I was just looking at that monkey. Jiang Chen's eyes were still fixed on the monkey. Others might not be able to discover anything, but he could tell that this monkey was extraordinary. He had to find out what was going on with the star energy in this monkey. Perhaps he might even be able to find the core of the star. However, Jiang Chen did not have high hopes. It was not easy to find the core of a star. Moreover, the core of a star was a supreme treasure. It was definitely something that could only be found by chance. Although Jiang Chen yearned for it, he was not confident enough to set his eyes on the core of a star no matter where he went. If he did, his cultivation path would probably be stagnant. If he wanted to obtain the core of a star, it would depend entirely on luck. However, if this sky-green monkey had some secret about the star energy, it would be hard to say. Sky-green monkey? This thing doesn't seem to be common. Yeah, but this thing is very smart. I heard that some owners who raised sky-green monkeys were killed by it. This guy is too strange. I can't afford to offend it. This kind of thing should be left to those rich people. The sky-green monkey is not easy to deal with. If you don't have the ability, don't play with it. Although it is strong and has extraordinary battle strength, it is also arrogant and unruly. Not many people can control this guy. Many people shook their heads inwardly. It was obvious that not many people were interested in the sky-green monkey. Lot 194 Sky-green monkey starting price, 100,000 9th grade source stones. As soon as Yun Duo's voice fell, someone made a bid. Although not many people bid, there were still people who wanted it. Although there were not many people who bid, there were still dozens of people who kept increasing the price. In less than a quarter of an hour, the price had reached 225,000. At this time, Jiang Chen's bid should be about right. 230,000. Jiang Chen said. This price was basically the highest price he could offer. Especially when Jiang Chen bid this time, it made everyone on the scene tremble with fear. Young Master Zhou had fallen into his trap twice, and no one dared to compete with him when he called a price. That's right. Chapter 5144. Jiang Chen looked at Zhou Xian with a smile. Increase the price? Increase the price, my ass. Do you think I'm that shameless? I've already been cheated by you twice. Do you still want to cheat me? There was once and twice, but there would never be a third or fourth time. Trying to cheat me? That's impossible. Zhou Xian snorted coldly. This time he had learned his lesson. He didn't want to compete with Jiang Chen anymore. If he continued, he would only suffer a crushing defeat. Moreover, he didn't have many origin stones left. It was impossible for him to continue bidding. Without a strong competitor like Zhou Xian, Jiang Chen's bid was no longer suspenseful. Although two people continued to raise the price, Jiang Chen once again set the price at 260,000 grade 9 origin stones. No one else raised the price. 260,000 grade 9 origin stones going once. 260,000 grade 9 origin stones going twice. 260,000 grade 9 origin stones going thrice. Sold. Congratulations, young Master Jiang, 260,000 grade 9 origin stones. I have obtained a celestial green monkey. Yun Duo smiled as she looked at Jiang Chen. Many people sighed. Jiang Chen had already cheated Zhou Xian twice. No one wanted to be the second Zhou Xian. The price of the Azure Monkey was at least 300,000 grade 9 origin stones, but no one wanted to be his stepping stone. If this guy bid randomly again, no one would be able to afford it. Zhou Xian was a bit depressed. Why didn't he bid against him? If this guy bid, he definitely wouldn't bid anymore. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. He wanted to cheat Jiang Chen, but he didn't have the guts to do so. Seems like no one dares to challenge you. Qin Lu covered her mouth and giggled. Her beautiful eyes were sparkling. This time Jiang Chen was truly stunned by her beauty. What are you looking at? What's there to look at? Qin Lu rolled her eyes at Jiang Chen, her face red. Since you don't want me to look, I'll go look at Miss Tang Wan. Jiang Chen shrugged. You dare? Qin Lu pursed her lips. The auction lasted for quite a long time. 300 items were also a very large project, but in the end, Jiang Chen did not find any more treasures that he was interested in. Next is the last auction item, which is also the highlight of this year's auction, the Water Chestnut Treasure Codex. After Cloud finished speaking, her face was filled with excitement. At the same time, there were quite a few people in the auction hall whose faces were filled with astonishment, causing an uproar to rise one after another. What? Water Chestnut Flower Treasure Book? How is this possible? You know about the Water Chestnut Flower Treasure Book? What is this thing? Why are so many people so shocked? You don't even know about the Water Triangular Flower Treasure Book? It is a mysterious treasure left behind by the Celestial Lord Ling Hua. It is said that when the Celestial Lord Ling Hua left the Sky Tyrant Starfield, she left it behind. Countless people are fighting for it and searching for it. To this day, no one has been able to unravel the secrets of the treasure. Water Chestnut Immortal Lord. You are so ignorant. She is second only to the Eternal Emperor realm. It is said that more than 2 million years ago, when the Water Chestnut Deity Lord left the Sky Tyrant Starfield for a higher level starfield, he left this treasure for his descendants. However, to this day it is just a legend. No one knows if the Water Chestnut Treasure Book really exists or what it looks like. Never would I have thought that the treasure book would be in the hands of the HSBC auction house. The Celestial Lord Ling Hua was a person who made the entire Sky Tyrant Starfield go crazy. She was one of the most terrifying beings below the Eternal Emperor realm. When she left the Sky Tyrant Starfield, she had already reached a terrifying cultivation realm. Moreover, she was someone who made the entire Sky Tyrant Starfield tremble. How could she be simple? Jiang Chen looked at Qin Lu, who was beside him. Her face was flushed, and it was obvious that she was also very shocked and curious about the treasure book. Brother Jiang Chen, don't you know? The Celestial Lord Ling Hua is the legend of the entire Sky Tyrant Starfield. More than 2 million years ago, in that glorious era, the Celestial Lord Ling Hua shocked the entire Sky Tyrant Starfield with her own strength. She dared to chase after the Eternal Emperor realm as a level 1 woman. One can imagine how powerful she was. Before she left the treasure book behind. Many people have been searching for it for thousands of years. Who would have thought that the treasure book would appear here and be auctioned off? This is too shocking. Qin Lu spoke without thinking, her eyes staring at the Water Chestnut Flower Treasure Book. Is this 3-tripod flower treasure codex really that powerful? Jiang Chen asked. Qin Lu shook her head. You are not from Tianqin Star and you are not from the Sky Tyrant Starfield. You do not understand how terrifying the treasure book is. You do not know what kind of existence the Celestial Lord Ling Hua is. She is like an inextinguishable god to us. Moreover, the things recorded in the Water Chestnut Treasure Book are things that we can benefit from for our entire lives. Qin Lu became more and more excited. Looks like this is a treasure. Jiang Chen said with a smile. Everyone had kept the Water Chestnut Flower Treasure Codex a secret. Everyone was shocked and shocked. It was unimaginable how valuable this treasure was. What kind of treasure would be left behind by an expert who was second only to the Eternal Emperor realm? Jiang Chen was also very curious. Although he didn't know what was inside the book, it seemed like he would have to take part in it. This time it seemed like there would be a lot of people who wanted to get their hands on the book. Seeing the enthusiasm of the crowd, Tang Wan was secretly gratified. This time the HSBC auction house had really taken out their trump card, and this treasure was completely extraordinary. Even Tang Wan was extremely curious. However, there were some things that didn't belong to her. Even if she had the water chestnut treasure book, she couldn't open such a magical treasure. Therefore, Tang Wan had no choice but to sell it. She needed a large amount of dawn stones to accumulate. Therefore, there was nothing she could do about it. She had no choice but to sell it. She needed a large amount of dawn stones. If she did not sell it, the treasure book would be worthless to her. However, if she sold it, she would be able to exchange it for countless dawn stones. Tang Wan was clear about such a transaction. Hurry up, we can't wait. Hurry up and auction it. That's right. We have already obtained our trump card. What is there to hesitate about? I have been waiting for it for a long time. This time the HSBC auction house has really put in a lot of effort. I have to give it to them. Isn't that so? This time we have to take a good look at exactly how terrifying this water chestnut flower treasure codex is. Chapter 5145. Everyone couldn't wait any longer. The whole place was filled with enthusiasm. Roars and roars resounded through the clouds. This was the result that Tang Wan wanted. This would also make countless people excited. This way, the water chestnut flower treasure book would definitely be auctioned off at an unprecedented price. Sai, what's the point of being excited? Do you think ordinary people like us can bid for the water chestnut flower treasure book? That's true. We're probably just here to watch the show. I think the starting price of the water chestnut flower treasure book won't be lower than 2 million. 2 million? I think it'll be at least 3 or 4 million grade 9 origin stones. This is beyond our knowledge. Normal experts aren't even auctioned off by the HSBC auction house. We don't understand the happiness of the rich. What's the point of saying all this? We don't have the ability or money. We can only work hard and forge ahead. In the end, we can only rely on ourselves. If you can't afford an item with a clear price, who can you blame? Although many people present knew that this auction wasn't simple, almost no one could actually participate in the auction. Everyone could imagine that the water chestnut flower treasure book would definitely fetch a terrifying price. Big brother Zhou, if you have enough origin stones, you must bid for the water chestnut flower treasure book. It's definitely a rare treasure. You can't buy it even if you have money. Even I am quite surprised by the HSBC auction house's actions. It's unbelievable that they're willing to auction the water chestnut flower treasure book. Moreover, there are definitely a lot of people who are eyeing the water chestnut treasure codex. Qin Lu grabbed Jiang Chen's hand tightly. She knew that she definitely didn't have enough origin stones to bid for it, but big brother Jiang Chen might have a chance. I'll do my best, Jiang Chen said. With so many people coveting the water chestnut flower treasure book and Qin Lu trying to dissuade him, it seemed like he had to participate in the final auction. Everyone, please be quiet. I will now announce the auction of the last item, the water chestnut flower treasure book. The starting price is 5 million grade 9 origin stones. Cloud's words caused the crowd to quiet down. However, her words once again caused the crowd to reach a climax. 5 million grade 9 origin stones. This was just the starting price? Time to slip away. At this price, 99% of the people present had already flinched. 5 million grade 9 source stones, even among star level 9 experts. Not many could take out so much money. Most of the people were refunded and only a small number of people could participate in the auction. 5 million? Damn it, it seems that my estimation was wrong. I thought that starting at 2 million was already amazing. You should know what kind of existence the water chestnut Immortal Lord was. How could her legacy be bad? That's true, but the price is too ridiculous. We don't even dare to think about it. Actually, you're wrong. This price is already very, very low. It's more than worth it. I just don't know how much it will fetch in the end. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the water chestnut flower grimoire. The auction was finally about to begin. Each increment must be no less than 500,000 grade 9 origin stones. Let's begin. Everyone, please show your sincerity and show your price. As long as your price is high enough, you can easily take the water chestnut flower grimoire home. After Yudwa finished speaking, the crowd became noisy. However, many people were already prepared. There were definitely many rich people present. This price should scare off many people, Jiang Chen said with a smile. Sigh, it's indeed a price that I don't even dare to look at. Qinlu's mouth twitched. There was no doubt that she had already been kicked out of the auction. She didn't even have the right to bid. 5 million. 6 million. 5 million. 7 million. 8 million grade 9 origin stones. The price of the auction rose rapidly. Jiangchen was also very excited. In the blink of an eye, the price had reached 12 million grade 9 origin stones. It seemed like the number of origin stones in his pocket was not enough. Tens of millions of grade 9 origin stones were only enough to buy him some loneliness. Jiangchen couldn't help but shake his head. Weren't these fellows a little too ruthless? As expected of the wealthy people of the Great Tang. Quite a few people were still bidding for tens of millions of origin stones, and the price had never stopped. Many of them were staring fixedly at the water chestnut flower treasure book, looking as if they were determined to get their hands on it. 13 million grade 9 origin stones. A middle-aged man in a blue robe calmly said. It's third uncle. Zhou Xian's eyes lit up. He hadn't expected his third uncle to also come. Moreover, it seemed like his third uncle was also very interested in the water chestnut flower grimoire. Zhou Lifan, it seems like you also want the water chestnut flower grimoire? Why don't you give it to me? I'll definitely give you a big gift when we get back, huh? The other man also laughed and said, then immediately called out a price. 14 million grade 9 origin stones. Wu Xiaohua, this isn't your territory. You can't steal what I want. Why don't you take a step back and I'll give you a big gift when we get back? Zhou Lifan sneered. As the second in command of the Zhou clan, he was also aiming for the water chestnut flower grimoire. It was obvious that not even Zhou Lifan had the funds of tens of millions of origin stones. He had come here on behalf of his older brother Zhou Xian's father. Even for the Zhou clan, 10 million origin stones was not a small sum. It seems like you want to fight with me to the end. Zhou Lifan, think carefully. Do you have the confidence? Wu Xiaohua's expression chilled as he snorted. To be able to sit here and bid, what do you think? Zhou Lifan calmly said. 15 million grade 9 origin stones. Let me join in as well. I wonder if the two of you would be willing? A beautiful woman with an enchanting figure covered her mouth and giggled as she casually called out 15 million grade 9 origin stones. Waves of excitement rose among the people present, causing everyone's hearts to tremble in fear. The price kept increasing and now it had already tripled. Jing Meili, don't be so ungrateful. Isn't your Jing clan expanding right now? Are you sure you can afford so many origin stones? Wu Xiaohua narrowed his eyes. This amount of money is nothing to our Jing clan. Why don't we compete and see whose leg hair is thicker? Jing Meili's brows danced with delight. The corners of her lips curled up slightly, and her expression was enchanting. Neither Wu Xiaohua nor Zhou Lifan dared to underestimate her. What a good water chestnut flower grimoire. 3 of the 4 great clans have come. The Zhou clan, the Wu clan and the Jing clan are all participating. It seems like today's auction won't be fun. Chapter 5146. Then let's see how they perform. Jiangchen shrugged. I don't have that many origin stones on hand right now. It seems that we have no fate with the water chestnut flower treasure book. Jiangchen's eyes flickered, but he was in no hurry to participate. It seemed that the Great Tang's 4 great clans were also participating, and their struggle was bound to be very intense. A mountain cannot hold 2 tigers, and these people were all at loggerheads. There was no need to create unnecessary misunderstandings. Jiangchen only needed to sit back and watch the tigers fight. Looking at Qinlu's disappointed expression, Jiangchen had a playful smile on his face. Until the very last moment, no one knew who would be the winner. That's too exciting. Although I'm not the one bidding, I'm also excited. The 4 great clans are truly rich. That's right. 10 million grade 9 origin stones as if they're free. The boldness of the 4 great clans is indeed not something an ordinary person can compare to. If this continues, I don't think it'll be difficult to break through the 20 million barrier. Then we can only wait and see. This sort of thing can only be encountered by chance, and it's very likely to be an unimaginable inheritance. For the great clans it's especially important. The water chestnut flower Immortal Lord is a true expert. Many people yearned for it, but they could only stay away from the water chestnut flower treasure book. It was not something that the poor could imagine. 16 million. Then let's see who will have the last laugh. Zhou Lifan's expression was calm. 16 million grade 9 origin stones was already a very high price, but it was clear that the Wu and Zheng clans did not intend to let it go. The price would only continue to rise. 17 million. Jing Meili smiled. She gently played with her multicolored fingernails. She had an enchanting expression on her face, causing countless people to feel carefree and relaxed. Such a woman was like a blue enchantress, terrifying people's souls. Many people were bewitched by Jing Meili. As expected of the Zheng clan's heroine, but this is not your battlefield. 18 million grade 9 origin stones. Wu Xiaohua was also getting more and more excited. The fight between the three of them was very exciting. The number of people's adrenaline kept rising. The happiest person was Tang Wan. A short while later, the price doubled once again, reaching 26 million grade 9 origin stones. At this time, Zhou Lifan and the other two's faces were no longer calm. If this continued, the result would be unimaginable. 27 million. The two of you, if you continue to shout like this, there's no meaning in it anymore. Leave this thing to my Zhou clan, we will not neglect you in the future. I Zhou Lifan will remember this kindness in my heart. Zhou Lifan's voice was solemn as he said solemnly. No. I don't think the Zhou family's sincerity is enough. Let me do it myself. Wu Xiaohua said with blazing eyes. 28 million. Wu Xiaohua gritted his teeth. This was also his last bid. If the price could not be stabilized, he would not have the strength to continue bidding. Nearly 30 million grade 9 origin stones was enough to nurture many people. This was the highest authority that the clan head could give him. Exceeding 30 million grade 9 origin stones would cause his clan to suffer huge losses or even stop operating. Ordinary star rank experts would be considered wealthy if they had a few 100,000 grade 9 origin stones. Those with a few 100,000 grade 9 origin stones would be considered wealthy. Those with over 1 million grade 9 origin stones were extremely rare, and those with over 10 million grade 9 origin stones were 1 in 10,000. It was not that the four clans could not take out 30 million grade 9 origin stones, but even if they did, it would cause their clans to fall into a passive position. Perhaps they could take out 50 million grade 9 origin stones with the entire clan's strength, but it would cause the clan to fall apart. What was the use of that? 30 million grade 9 origin stones was already the limit for every family clan. 29 million. Zhou Lifan made his last bid. This was also his limit. The three of them looked at each other in rage. But the auction house was even crueler than the casino. Without money, one could only stare at one's inadequacy. No matter how good the item was, it was impossible for one to obtain it. As three of the Great Tang's four great clans, their strength was almost equal. 30 million was their limit. It was almost impossible for anyone to take another step forward. The atmosphere in the auction house was getting more and more intense. So many grade 9 origin stones was simply outrageous. In the VIP section, Gong Lianqing respectfully stood at Tang Wan's side, his face also filled with shock. I really didn't expect young lady to sell this water caltrip treasure tome for such an astronomical price. The last time it was sold for tens of millions, it was for a grade 10 pill. But at that time, Master was personally presiding over the auction. How many years has it been? Gong Lianqing said with a sigh. Yes, how many years has it been? 26 million grade 9 origin stones, but that pill was only a 4-line pill. If it was a 10-line pill, I don't think Father would have sold it. Tang Wan shook her head with a smile. But this water caltrip treasure tome seemed to have broken through its previous limit, surpassing 30 million grade 9 origin stones. 30 million. As soon as he finished his words, someone bid a high price of 30 million. However, this person was neither from the four major families nor Jiangchen. He was a black-clothed man. No one could see through his cultivation base at all. Tang Wan frowned. This black-clothed man was completely shrouded in a black robe. Even she couldn't see through him. Who was he? Zhou Lifan and the other two clenched their teeth and looked at each other. They chose to remain silent because they no longer had the right to continue bidding. The auction house became extremely quiet. 30 million grade 9 origin stones. This was an insurmountable peak. The black-clothed man instantly became the center of attention, but no one could tell who he was. It seems like the four great clans have all admitted defeat. They don't dare to continue bidding. That's right, huh? But it seems like this black-clothed man is finally going to make his move. 30 million. I believe no one has bid higher than this price, right? No one has bid after so long. It seems like this water caltrop treasure tome is going to go to this black-clothed man. I'm so envious. When will I be able to have this kind of elegance? Countless people were intimidated by the black-clothed man's wealth. They could only silently praise him. 32 million. Just when everyone thought that the black-clothed man would be able to take the crown with a bid of 30 million, another bid was heard. It's him. He finally called out a price. Chapter 5147. Jiang Chen's ability to take out 10 patterned great rejuvenation pills at once was mysterious to Tang Wan. However, she didn't know Jiang Chen's identity. One thing was for sure though. He definitely didn't lack money. How could such a person not be tempted by the water caltrop treasure book? It turned out that Jiang Chen had been waiting all along. A true expert only needed to make the final call. Evidently, Jiang Chen had been waiting for this final opportunity. After confirming that no one else was bidding, the black-robed man was his only opponent. Even Chen Lu was shocked when Jiang Chen called out his bid. Big brother Jiang Chen, you're actually so rich? You're still complaining about being poor to me. You're really too evil. Chen Lu stared at Jiang Chen in shock. Even if I don't have money, I still have to bid a little louder. I can't make a fool of myself. Jiang Chen chuckled. He didn't have that much money, but the great rejuvenation pills in his possession were a huge fortune. That was why he was so fearless. 33 million. The black-robed man glanced at Jiang Chen and called out again. After all, he had also come for this treasure, so he couldn't possibly remain silent. Even if someone called out too high, the two of them would definitely be at loggerheads. 35 million. Jiang Chen was brimming with confidence. Although he didn't know what secrets the water caltrop treasure book held, as the water caltrop immortal lord, an existence second only to the eternal emperor lord, her inheritance couldn't be a pile of trash, right? Seeing Chen Lu's excited expression, he felt that it would be worth it even if it was just for Chen Lu's smile. Perhaps this was what it meant to throw away 1,000 taels of gold for the sake of a beauty. However, Jiang Chen didn't care about any of this. Friend, how about giving the water caltrop treasure book to me? I'll give you 2 million grade 9 source stones as compensation. The black-robed man glanced at Jiang Chen and spoke indifferently. However, many people's jaws dropped. Was there such a thing? However, obtaining 2 million grade 9 origin stones for no reason at all was definitely a profitable transaction. If I had known earlier, I would have gone to bid as well. Isn't that like earning 2 million for free? Who do you think you are? You're courting death if you bid recklessly. Do you think the HSBC auction house will let you leave so calmly? Exactly. In your dreams. Do you think that 2 million grade 9 origin stones are that easy to earn? This Jiang Chen does have some ability. It seems that his previous challenge to Zhou Xian was not groundless. Many people were looking forward to it. The final battle between Jiang Chen and the black-clothed man had already made everyone clench their fists and watch nervously. Does this guy really have so many dawn stones? Others might have believed him, but Zhou Xian's heart was still beating like a drum. He felt that this Jiang Chen was just using his connections to intimidate others. How could he possibly have so many origin stones? This brat most likely didn't have any money and was just randomly bidding. Zhou Xian hated Jiang Chen to the bone. Naturally, he didn't want Jiang Chen to obtain the water chestnut treasure book. If that was the case, he would probably be even more difficult to deal with. Zhou Xian had already made preparations to strangle Jiang Chen in the cradle. Once he left the HSBC auction house, he would definitely not let him off. Don't you think 2 million grade 9 origin stones is too little to bribe me? Jiang Chen said with a smile. Alright then, 36 million. The black-clothed man said coldly. This guy refused a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. At this moment, Tang Wan was also quite curious. She whispered to Gong Lianqing, who was beside her. Go and find out who this black-clothed man is. Yes. Young Mississippi Gong Lianqing hurriedly went to investigate the black-clothed man's identity. However, the battle in the auction house was still ongoing. Moreover, it was a display of sharpness that made people's hearts tremble. 38 million. Jiang Chen was still calm and unruffled, but the black-clothed man's eyes were getting colder and colder. Although Jiang Chen couldn't see his face clearly, he could see that his eyes were extremely angry and ugly because he had blocked his way. 40 million grade 9 origin stones. The black-clothed man called out again. Each time was 1 million. This time he directly raised the price by 2 million. He wanted to show his strength to Zhou Xian and hope that he would back off. 40 million. Sigh, this water chestnut treasure book is too exciting. 40 million, that's 40 million grade 9 origin stones. I can't imagine. Who is this black-clothed man? Even the 4 great clans have to concede defeat. He is still struggling with Zhou Xian. Moreover, this Zhou Xian is a latecomer. He isn't a member of the 4 great clans. We don't understand the world of the rich, but the HSBC auction house will not let them do as they please. There must be a guarantee for such a huge sum of money. That's right. Those who have dared to cause trouble at the HSBC auction house have all died a horrible death. The crowd couldn't contain their excitement. 40 million had once again crossed an unimaginable threshold. Who is this guy? Do you know him? Zhou Lifan transmitted his voice to his eldest nephew, Zhou Xian. I don't know. But I'm sure he won't be able to escape from me. Don't worry, third uncle. Once he leaves the HSBC auction house, I'll make him pay for it. Zhou Xian sneered and said with an icy look in his eyes. Seems like you are determined to get it. However, I like it too. Let's just take what we need. 42 million. Zhang Chen's face was calm. His calmness was the most attractive thing. He's too handsome. If I can marry such a handsome man, I'll be satisfied for the rest of my life. That's right. This is a real man. I love him. I must find him and see who he is. Take a look at how outstanding the woman beside him is before you say anything. I've heard that she's the princess of one of the 3 great powers in the western border. Don't be so narcissistic. He won't like mediocre women like you. Zhang Chen's sharpness made all the women present scream. Who wouldn't like a man who threw his money around? Who wouldn't want to raise their status if they followed such a man and cultivated for the rest of their lives? I'm giving you face, but you don't want it. I'm taking it. 43 million. The veins on the man's arms bulged. He clenched his fists tightly. He was about to reach his limit. If this continued, the book would really be taken away by someone else. Let's see who will have the last laugh. Whoever is richer will get the water chestnut flower treasure codex. Zhang Chen was as calm as ever. It was as if someone else was paying for these origin stones. He wasn't worried at all. 45 million. Zhang Chen's bid reached new highs again and again. The hearts of the people present were beating violently along with him. 46 million. The man in black shouted again. However, this time he felt as if his body had been hollowed out. He didn't expect the competition to be so fierce. The price had reached more than 40 million. It was too exciting. 50 million. Zhang Chen said calmly. At this moment the whole place was dead silent. 50 million. That was 50 million 9th grade origin stones. Moreover, it was real money. Who wouldn't be tempted? Who wouldn't be shocked? Tang Wan's eyes were burning with passion. What a good Zhang Chen. He really opened her eyes. This guy was too exciting. Even as the person in charge of the HSBC auction house, Tang Wan was full of admiration when she looked at Zhang Chen. 50 million 9th grade origin stones. What kind of concept was that? Even for the current HSBC auction house, it was a large part of their liquid funds. Moreover, it couldn't be all of their cash flow. However, the price was real. Tang Wan didn't expect Zhang Chen to be so rich. Even if his family had a mine, he shouldn't be so extravagant, right? Chapter 5148. This is crazy, this is crazy. This price is too ridiculous. Is this the life of the rich? Damn, this is too damn satisfying. I never even dared to think about it in my entire life. 50 million. My god, that's 50 million grade 9 origin stones. I heard you. I'm not deaf. Holy shit. How many origin stones is that? It's probably enough to crush me to death. Countless people were cheering crazily. 50 million. Not only the audience, even Tang Wan was excited. She had never auctioned anything at such a high price before. Zhang Chen had brought her auction to a new high. This man was really her lucky star. She had to admit that Zhang Chen was her lucky star. In the Great Tang there were no more than 4 people, no more than 4 clans, that could take out 50 million grade 9 origin stones. Even those 4 great clans would only be able to gather around this amount of wealth. Zhang Chen's appearance had caused everyone to look at him in a new light. This sort of legend was someone they should admire even more. If you had enough origin stones, you would be able to stand at the peak. If you had enough strength, you would be able to see even further. The current Jiangqin was the highest mountain in their hearts, unreachable and worthy of worship. Qinlu's eyes were already filled with little stars. Big brother Jiangqin had always been her role model, and this time he had shocked countless people. He had swept through the Great Tang without equal. Who wouldn't like this sort of man? Countless women had looks of worship on their faces, wanting nothing more than to throw themselves into his arms. How could such a man be weak? No wonder he could contend against the Zhou clan, one of the 4 great clans. In his eyes, Zhou Xian wasn't even worth a fart. Now it seemed that he didn't even care about 50 million origin stones. This sort of boldness was not something that just anyone could possess. The black-clothed man's face was gloomy as he silently stared at Jiangqin. After a long while he slowly retreated and left the auction house. However, the coldness in his eyes caused Jiangqin to frown. This fellow clearly wasn't going to let this matter rest. Damn. He actually managed to pull it off. Zhou Xian was even more enraged. His eyes were dark. Jiangqin had been so ruthless with him that he had cheated him again and again. In the end, Zhou Xian didn't even dare to bid, causing him to lose all face. In the past he could do whatever he wanted in Great Tang. But this time he was actually disgusted by this guy. So many people cheered for him, so many people went crazy for him. That was Zhou Xian's dream. However, it was a pity that he didn't have the courage to do so. Even if his father was here, he wouldn't spend 50 million grade 9 origin stones to buy the water chestnut treasure book. If he did, his family would probably run out of resources. Zhou Xian had now regarded Jiangqin as a thorn in his side, and he wished he could pull out his tendons and peel off his skin. But now he had become the clown of the auction, allowing this guy to stand on a lonely peak and be respected by others. We'll settle this score slowly. You want to steal my woman? Dream on. If I can get you to take even half a step out of the Great Tang, Zhou Xian will be your grandson. Zhou Xian coldly snorted and left with a flick of his sleeve. The cheers and howls of the crowd finally receded. Jiangqin's figure was like that of an immortal god from the 9 heavens. This was the power of money. Even in front of countless cultivators, money could still sway anyone. Money could make even the devil turn millstones. This had always been the case. I declare that this year's annual auction will end here. Thank you everyone for coming. Cloud said with a smile as she bowed to the audience. Jiangqin naturally did not leave. At this time, Tang Wan had personally come to the box to welcome Jiangqin. This was a true diamond member. Tang Wan's appearance made Qinlu jealous. This woman was now looking at big brother Jiangqin with a covetous gaze. Mr. Jiangqin, congratulations. 50 million for the water chestnut treasure book. I truly didn't expect you to be so rich. 50 million grade 9 origin stones. I am indebted to Mr. Jiangqin's favor. Tang Wan covered her mouth and smiled, her eyes sparkling as she gave a slight nod. I don't have that many origin stones. Jiangqin said bluntly. Suddenly, the corner of Tang Wan's mouth moved slightly. You don't have that many origin stones? Isn't he here to cause trouble? Although Tang Wan was somewhat puzzled, she knew that with Jiangqin's status, he would definitely not come here to cause trouble. Then, Mr. Jiangqin, what do you mean? Tang Wan pondered. Can I use my elixir to exchange for it? I won't let you suffer a loss. Jiangqin said with a smile. 50 million origin stones for elixir? How many elixir would that cost? Tang Wan was a little hesitant. He found it hard to believe. Unless he could take out a few dozen 10-rune Great Huan pills. That seemed to be acceptable to Tang Wan. However, how could there be so many 10-rune Great Huan pills? Like jelly beans? It was absolutely impossible. However, Tang Wan felt that Jiangqin was not an irresponsible person. Since he had made a bid, he was definitely not joking. He must definitely be responsible for his words. If the auction kept meeting such people all day long, then there was no need for it to be held. Mr. Jiangqin, please speak your mind. Tang Wan said. 50 10-rune Great Huan pills. After saying that, Jiangqin flipped his hand and took out 5 jade bottles. Each jade bottle contained 10 10-rune Great Huan pills. At that moment, Tang Wan was really stunned. She stood rooted to the ground and could not speak for a long time. 50. Damn. Even though Tang Wan was a very gentle woman, she could not help but feel excited and almost blurted out. What kind of expert was this? He could refine 10-rune Great Huan pills like jelly beans? Were they almost like cabbages now? However, Tang Wan was very clear that as long as there was a limited supply, these 50 Great Huan pills could be auctioned off in 50 years. It would not take too long. Moreover, the value of each Great Huan pill would increase by at least 50%. Not to mention how much she could sell them for, these Great Huan pills were definitely worth 50 million ninth-grade origin stones. Tang Wan was extremely shocked. What kind of person had she encountered? No, she must tie him down firmly. This time, Tang Wan knew that she had to use all her strength to help Zhou Xian find his son. If she wanted to tie him down or make him establish a good relationship with her, his son was the only clue. Mr. Zhou Xian is too straightforward. I am convinced. I will accept these 50 Great Huan pills. The water chestnut treasure book is yours. Tang Wan's eyes shone brightly. Who would not like a man like this? Chapter 5149. Tang Wan handed the book to Zhou Xian. Zhou Xian took a look but didn't find anything strange about it. However, since it dared to sell it at such a high price and had so many people fighting over it, it was definitely not an ordinary item. To Zhou Xian, 50 great rejuvenating pills was just a drop in the bucket. It wasn't worth mentioning. There was nothing he could do about it. Money couldn't buy what he liked. Tang Wan regarded the 10-vein Great Recovery pill as a treasure, but what Zhou Xian cared about the most was the book. He hoped that it wouldn't disappoint him. No one was at a disadvantage. Everyone was just taking what they needed. This water chestnut flower treasure codex was worthless to Tang Wan, but its reputation was worth 1,000 taels of gold. As for whether they could obtain any treasures from it, that would depend on their own luck. However, this 10-vein Great Recovery pill was an earth-shattering treasure to their auction house. Tang Wan knew that it wouldn't be easy to tie down Zhou Xian. He had to do something. Mr. Zhou Xian, I know that you care about your son. Trust me, I will give you an answer within 7 days. Before Zhou Xian could say anything, Tang Wan had already made her stance clear. She wanted Zhou Xian to rely on her because she was the #1 existence in the Great Tang. This was her only chance. She had to strike first. Although Tang Wan was utilitarian, this was how merchants were. There was no problem with putting profit above all else. Her greatest dream was to quickly find news of Zhou Qian's son. This was her trump card. Okay, I'll go back first. I'll be waiting for your good news. Many thanks. Zhou Qian clasped his hands and left the auction house. Okay, I'll see Mr. Zhou Qian off. Tang Wan had a graceful figure. She twisted her waist and walked with light steps, a smile on her face. What man wouldn't like such a woman? In the entire Great Tang, countless people regarded Tang Wan as their dream lover. After Zhou Qian and the others left the auction house, Tang Wan's face turned grim and callous. This kind of woman was the epitome of a murderous and strong woman. Old Gong, find everyone in the black market and find Jiang Feng's whereabouts. Pay any price for his son. Tang Wan's voice was cold and stern. Gong Lianqing's heart skipped a beat. He had never seen such a terrifying and serious side of the Mississippi. Her eyes were extremely calm. Gong Lianqing's heart was also incomparably shocked. It seemed that the young miss was serious this time. Is this Zhou Qian really worth Mrs. Treatment? Gong Lianqing whispered. There are some things that we need to see the essence of. Zhou Qian, I must keep him here. Otherwise I'll see your head. Go, don't delay my business. 7 days. If he's alive, I want to see him. If he's dead, I want to see his corpse. No matter what, I want to know about him. Otherwise I'll see your head. Tang Wan's words sent a chill down Gong Lianqing's spine. Yes. I'll do it now. Gong Lianqing hurriedly accepted the order and left. The things that the HSBC auction house wanted to know wouldn't take more than 3 days. He had to handle this matter perfectly. Otherwise, the young lady would keep her words. It wasn't impossible for him to lose his head. After finding a quiet courtyard, Zhou Qian and Qin Lu finally rested. However, on the way back, Qin Lu was unhappy. Zhou Qian knew that she must have been suppressed by Tang Wan's aura. This woman is a vixen. I think she's trying to hold you back. Big brother Zhou Qian, you can't fall into her trap. Qin Lu said. She keeps throwing flirtatious glances at you. I can't stand it anymore. If it wasn't for big brother Zhou Qian finding a son, I would have turned against her long ago. Zhou Qian shook his head with a smile. You recommended this place to me. You said that they have the best information network in the Great Tang. Zhou Qian said helplessly. Qin Lu blushed. She had shot herself in the foot. The gains did not make up for the losses. However, this was also for brother Jiangchen to find his son. Qinlu's intentions were good. But she really did want to seduce you. I saw big brother Jiangchen with my own eyes. She saw that you have so many pills, that's why she wanted to tie you to her body. Qinlu said anxiously. I'm not someone who can be tied up by anyone. I know her intentions, but I have a favor to ask of her. Jiangchen waved his hand. He did not care about this at all. Alright, don't mind the details. However, what Jiangchen didn't know was that the most difficult thing to do was to accept a beauty's kindness. Qinlu still had deep feelings for him, which was why she was so afraid of Tang Wan. If Tang Wan managed to catch up to him, Qinlu would probably cry to death. Hurry up and cultivate. I can see that you're about to break into the 8th heavenly layer. Then I'll go rest, brother Jiangchen. Qinlu nodded and left Jiangchen's room. The two of them had bought an old residence, so there were many rooms. Jiangchen wanted to study the water chestnut flower treasure book and the azure monkey. When he let the azure monkey out, the little fellow cautiously looked around. Finally, its gaze fell on Jiangchen as if it was extremely vigilant. Do you know how to speak? Where are you from? If you don't, then we can communicate spiritually. Jiangchen said to the azure monkey. I'll ask and you'll answer. If you dare to speak nonsense, you should know what will happen to you. You're not very useful to me, but if you can satisfy my conditions, I'll let you go. The azure monkey was surprised, but it seemed to be at a loss, as if it was afraid that Jiangchen would go back on his word. However, the azure monkey still nodded. Could understand every word Jiangchen said. Where are you from? Kuei Star. The azure monkey said. You have a surge of star energy in your body. Where did it come from? Jiangchen was overjoyed and continued asking. The azure monkey was stunned and shook its head. I don't know. Our Green clan has been like this since birth. You don't know this kind of power? As Jiangchen flipped his palm, a surge of star energy flickered with blue starlight. It was like a transparent star that spun continuously in his palm. The azure monkey's eyes were filled with fear. It instantly knelt in front of Jiangchen and kowtowed repeatedly. At this moment, even Jiangchen was stunned. He looked at the azure monkey in disbelief. Why was the azure monkey kowtowing to him? Ancestor, are you really the ancestor of our Green clan? The azure monkey changed its previous disdain and cautiousness and asked excitedly. I'm not the ancestor you're talking about. Jiangchen frowned. Oh, you are. You must be the ancestor of our Green clan. Chapter 5150. What is this? Why did it come here to acknowledge its ancestor? Just what was this sky blue monkey's background? Jiangchen was dumbfounded. Why do you say I'm the ancestor of your race? Jiangchen asked curiously. The azure monkey had a respectful expression. Legend has it that our race is forever cursed. Our bloodline was sealed so we can never break through to the cosmic cloud state on planet Kuei-mu. That place is also known as the Land of Exile. If we leave planet Kuei-mu, we will die within 1,000 years. My ancestor once said that only by finding our ancestor can we break the seal. He's a man who controls the sun, moon, and stars. Only he can help us escape from the abyss of suffering. The azure monkey's expression was solemn and excited. This was not just him, but the hope of the entire azure brilliance race. Circulate your power and show me, Jiangchen said. The azure monkey didn't doubt Jiangchen's words. He had long since regarded Jiangchen as his ancestor. With a lift of his hand, fist winds surged, Genesis chi mixed with a trace of star power. Perhaps even they didn't know it. Which means all members of your race have this kind of star power, right? Jiangchen asked. Is this the power of the stars? The monkey was confused. Jiangchen knew that he had to go to planet Kuei-mu. Take me to planet Kuei-mu, your home. If I can get what I want, I can definitely help you escape from the abyss of suffering. Jiangchen nodded and said. The only thing they could do now was to bring the azure monkey to the Kuei-wood star. Everything was still unknown. Everything was unknown, but he was certain that planet Kuei-mu definitely had star power. Might even have a star core. Thinking of this, Jiangchen couldn't help but feel a little excited. Only the energy of the stars could rapidly increase his cultivation base. I don't dare to disobey the ancestors' words. The azure monkey lowered its brows and nodded. Jiangchen's expression was grim. After all, from the looks of it, the Green race on Kuei-wood star was the most important. Jiang Chen calmed himself down and decided to take a look at the water chestnut flower treasure book first. At this time, Jiang Chen took out the water chestnut flower treasure book. After dealing with this thing and stabilizing his cultivation, Jiang Chen prepared to head to Kuei Star. Of course, even though the water chestnut flower treasure codex was described as miraculous, he couldn't see any clues. Jiang Chen studied it for a long time before he came to a sudden realization. This 3-tripod flower treasure codex was actually sealed by an array formation. Otherwise, how could he have been unable to see through it? He was a formation grandmaster, but he was almost fooled by this water chestnut treasure book. He was really speechless. Looks like this sealing formation isn't simple at all. No wonder even the people from the HSBC auction house couldn't open the water chestnut treasure book. Jiang Chen was delighted. If they could understand the secrets of the water chestnut treasure book, they probably wouldn't have put it up for auction. Of course, he was also puzzled. Whether or not he could solve this mystery would depend on his own abilities and luck. Jiang Chen entered the Buddha prison palace carefully. Without any distractions, he began to comprehend the array formation sealed around the water chestnut treasure book. As an immortal lord, an existence second only to the eternal lord, his cultivation level must be extremely heaven-defying. There was no doubt that the items left behind by the immortal lord would be terrifying. Thinking of the black-clothed man who had competed with him, Jiang Chen couldn't help but feel puzzled. It seemed that he had to be on guard against this person. His eyes before he left were definitely filled with hatred. A gentleman's wealth is his ruin. He had to quickly open the water chestnut treasure book. Moreover, the Great Tang didn't seem like a place to stay for long. Fortunately, it wouldn't be long before he left this place. Jiang Chen put in a lot of effort and finally broke the formation that was sealing the 3-layer maze formation around the 3-layer maze formation. No one was able to open the 3-layer maze formation. If it wasn't for Jiang Chen, the 3-layer maze formation would have been hidden for the rest of its life. Jiang Chen believed that even an ordinary array master would not be able to do this. This water chestnut immortal lord was not simple. The water chestnut treasure book was opened. It was a box with 2 items inside. One was a beautiful hairpin that shone brilliantly, but Jiang Chen didn't see anything strange about it. The second item was a book with the words Water Chestnut Treasure Book written on it. It seemed like this was the original water chestnut treasure book. What secrets did it hold that could make people so obsessed? What did the water chestnut immortal lord leave behind for his descendants? After opening the water chestnut treasure book, Jiang Chen's eyes lit up. This was a divine technique. The water chestnut treasure book is born from pinching a flower. A single finger of the water chestnut can move mountains, fill seas, reverse yin and yang, shift the universe, study the changes of heaven and earth, and simulate the reincarnation of all things. The first is the heaven and earth aspect, causing all things to tremble. The second is the heaven and earth aspect, the third is the mountains and rivers aspect, the fourth is the sentient aspect, and the fifth is the reincarnation aspect. Born from these 5 aspects, they are immortal. Jiang Chen murmured. He was extremely shocked. This water chestnut treasure book was indeed a good thing. It was comparable to his 9 tribulations imprisoning heavenly finger. The power of these 5 aspects was not simple. Each aspect seemed to be the ultimate transformation of heaven and earth. It seemed like this water chestnut immortal lord was not an ordinary person. Jiang Chen's heart was pounding. He cultivated the water chestnut treasure book with all his might. This water chestnut treasure book was definitely a godly technique. It was no wonder that countless people would go crazy over it. It was a pity that no one could unlock it. Otherwise, it would not be his turn. This water chestnut immortal lord did something good. If Tang Wan knew about it, she would not let it go even if it cost her 100 million source stones. Jiang Chen calmed his mind and began to go all out. He kept devouring grade 9 source stones, and his strength continued to strengthen. In 2 days, Jiang Chen had completely stabilized his strength at the 9th heaven of the star state. Now he could fight against a half-step nebula state without any pressure. He would not be as pathetic as when he was in the western border. However, at this time there were only a few grade 9 source stones left. Jiang Chen's strength had increased by a lot, but he had also used up a large number of source stones. At this time, Jiang Chen was fully prepared. He planned to go to the Kuei planet to find out what was going on. How long will it take to get to the Kuei planet from here? Jiang Chen asked. About a year and a half. Diluo pondered. What if we have this? Within 3 days it should be enough, right? Jiang Chen took out the Tsonglan divine boat. Di Luo's face was instantly filled with shock. It seemed that the ancestor was indeed very powerful, but why was his strength so weak? This is a flying artifact that can travel through the universe and the eternal world? Di Luo was naturally not ignorant and ill-informed. When he saw the Azure Wave's divine boat, his heart was filled with reverence for his ancestor. With this flying artifact we don't need 3 days. We can probably reach the Kuewood planet in 2.5 days. Di Luo said excitedly. Then let's go. We'll depart immediately. Jiang Chen nodded. However, just as he was about to tell Chen Lu, a terrifying qi descended from the sky and enveloped the entire old mansion. The area within a few miles seemed to have been completely sealed. Chapter 51-51. Jiang Chen's heart sank. He didn't expect that he would encounter trouble just as he was about to leave this place. At this moment Chen Lu also felt an immense pressure. She hurriedly walked out of her room, only to see Big Bro Jiang Chen and the Azure Monkey standing in the courtyard with a solemn expression on their faces. What's going on? Big Bro Jiang Chen? Chen Lu still had a puzzled expression on her face. Although her perception wasn't as strong as Jiang Chen's, she could still feel that something was wrong. There was a high possibility that they were surrounded and wouldn't be able to move an inch. Jiang Chen glanced at Chen Lu and nodded his head. Someone might have already set their eyes on us. Jiang Chen's perception definitely wasn't something Chen Lu could compare to. His innate astral soul had already sensed the pressure from a long time ago, and it was rushing towards them. Come out. Since you're already here, don't tell me you're planning to set up camp here? Jiang Chen coldly said. At this moment, 10 silhouettes silently appeared in the courtyard. Although Jiang Chen had already set up a formation, these people came prepared. Although it would be difficult to break the formation, they still had to leave this place eventually. Since the other party had already rushed over, there was no need for him to continue pretending. Since they wanted to come, there was no need for them to return. As expected of a man that could move Sister Chen Lu's heart. This aura and courage is truly admirable. Jiang Chen, we meet again. Zhou Xian's appearance wasn't out of Jiang Chen's expectations. He already knew that it was him. This fellow definitely wouldn't let this matter rest. During the annual auction he had caused Zhou Xian to lose all his face. How could this young master of a major clan swallow this down? Hence, Zhou Xian's appearance was obvious. If he didn't come, Jiang Chen would be extremely shocked. To the usually domineering Zhou Xian, Jiang Chen was a thorn in his side. Not to mention, Jiang Chen even dared to snatch a woman from him. If this could be tolerated, what could not be tolerated? Men had to act. Zhou Xian had already made up his mind to kill Jiang Chen here to vent the hatred in his heart. He was the local tyrant of Great Tang, the crown prince. For such a thing to happen to him was truly a humiliation. Many people in the annual auction had witnessed themselves being suppressed by Jiang Chen twice. They had no way to fight back and could only wait to be trampled on. However, it was different now. If he wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as flipping his palm. Zhou Xian, what are you trying to do? Chen Lu's heart sank. Looking at the expert behind him, a bad premonition welled up in her heart. Zhou Xian sneered and shook his head. What do I want to do? How could you not know? I'm going to kill him today and then take you for myself. Isn't that my goal? This person must die. Zhou Xian said it. You lunatic. We have no feud with you. Why are you doing this? Chen Lu stared at Zhou Xian angrily. This guy was obviously angry because he failed to woo her. Now he was venting his anger on brother Jiang Chen. This matter had started because of her. You're really a little cutie, Chen Lu. He spoke rudely to me at the entrance of the HSBC auction. He doesn't know what's good for him. He humiliated me again and again at the annual auction? And he has no feud with me? What kind of hatred does he have for me to treat him like this? Who do you think you are? You're just a whore. In my eyes, you're a slut. I'm going to ravage you and throw you into the 10,000 snakes cave. Zhou Xian's eyes were cold. He was originally deeply in love with Chen Lu, but this ungrateful woman actually belittled him and humiliated him in front of other men. This hatred had been buried deep in Zhou Xian's heart. Now that such a good opportunity had presented itself, he had to make Jiang Chen pay the price. As a young master of the Great Tang, he had the strength. Moreover, Jiang Chen definitely had many secrets on him. Since this guy had obtained the water caltrip treasure book, he definitely had other great treasures. This water caltrip treasure book had been sold for an astronomical price of 50 million. Who knew how many people dreamed of it? The treasure in Jiang Chen's hands was also something he urgently wanted. Qin Lu was no longer attractive at this moment. He just wanted to get it in passing. Jiang Chen was his ultimate goal. As one of the 4 great clans of the Great Tang, Zhou Xian still had the strength and boldness to do so. You bastard. Do you know that if you do this you might get the HSBC auction house? Don't forget that big brother Jiang Chen is Miss Tang Wan's honored guest. Qin Lu glared at Zhou Xian angrily. She brought up Tang Wan from the HSBC auction house in an attempt to stop Zhou Xian. However, Zhou Xian was not easily intimidated. Even if Tang Wan was here he would not stop. After all, he had come to find Jiang Chen today. Tang Wan alone could not control the situation. Unless Tang Wan was prepared to start a war with the Zhou clan. This was not the HSBC auction. Do you think that Tang Wan is his protective talisman? I Zhou Xian am not afraid of her. I Zhou Xian have never needed anyone to teach me how to do things. Zhou Xian took a step forward. With boundless killing intent he glared at Jiang Chen. No one could stop him. Anyone who dared to stand in his way would suffer a fate worse than death. Even Qin Lu was no exception. In Zhou Xian's eyes, Qin Lu was no longer that important. Right now Jiang Chen was the treasure in his eyes. Qin Lu didn't expect things to develop to this point. The masters behind Zhou Xian weren't to be trifled with. The power of the 4 major families in Tang was terrifying. It wasn't something the Shijiang forces could take on, especially the Zhou clan. It's rare for young noble Zhou to be in such a mood. In that case we can't be biased. Since you want to play, I will keep you company to the end. Jiang Chen smiled. Despite facing Zhou Xian who came prepared, he wasn't afraid at all. These guys were indeed strong, but his power had completely stabilized at the level 9 star state. With such combat power, Jiang Chen was confident that he could dominate all cosmic cloud states. Zhou Xian was arrogant and presumptuous, but unfortunately he encountered Lu Qin. Big brother Jiang Chen, they have the numbers advantage. These people aren't easy to deal with. The 9 experts behind Zhou Xian still put a lot of pressure on Qin Lu. After all, they were in someone else's territory, not the western frontier. Among them there were at least 3 level 9 star states. The rest were all level 8 star states. Chapter 51-52. The reason why Zhou Xian could be so confident was naturally because of the experts behind him. These people were the backbone of the Zhou family. Any 2 of them could easily destroy a small force. A mere Jiang Chen? He didn't care about him at all. How elegant. Since you're so happy, I'll naturally play with you. Pity you won't get a single treasure or beauty. Zhou Xian stood with his hands behind his back, his gaze cold as he stared at Jiang Chen with killing intent. Don't worry, with me here they won't be able to harm a single hair of yours. Jiang Chen said confidently. Not bad, this man isn't bad. He didn't leave you at the crucial moment. But today I'm afraid you 2 will have to part ways. Zhou Xian's expression was sinister. Don't worry, I definitely won't kill him, Qin Lu. I'll ravage you in front of him. I'll let him have a different experience. Aren't women meant to be played with? Am I right, Jiang Chen? You bastard. You're a shameless person. Qin Lu clenched her fists, wanting to tear Zhou Xian to pieces. There's no point in talking so much. Let's see if you can have the last laugh. If I want to kill you, I won't have to go through too much trouble. Jiang Chen and Zhou Xian stared at each other. Sparks finally burst out from their eyes. Courting death. Then I'll send you on your way. Zhou Xian said coldly. Do it. With a roar, 3-star level 9 powerhouses swiftly rushed forward. 6-star level 8 powerhouses followed closely behind. The 9 experts immediately surrounded Jiang Chen. Little sister Qin Lu, let me see if your strength has improved. Zhou Xian approached Qin Lu. Qin Lu's gaze turned cold. She was now a peak star level 7 and was chosen by the Qin clan's ancestral land. Although Zhou Xian was a star state level 8, Qin Lu wasn't afraid of him. Moreover, there was no way to retreat from this battle. In the blink of an eye, big brother Jiang Chen had already confronted the 9 masters. The situation was very difficult. Brother Jiang Chen, be careful. Qin Lu was filled with worry. You should worry about yourself first, humph. Zhou Xian did not have the slightest bit of tenderness towards the fairer sex. He wanted to capture Qianlu first and then use her to threaten the other party. However, Zhou Xian was still very confident in the 9 experts behind him. It would be a piece of cake for these 9 people to deal with Jiang Chen. Kill. The leading Star Realm expert led the group to attack Jiang Chen's vitals without a care in the world. Jiang Chen laughed coldly. His eyes were cold. Naturally, he did not fear danger. He held his saber horizontally, unmoving like a mountain. After dragon transformation, Jiang Chen's power and spirit were extremely domineering. Clashing with the 9 experts, it was simply earth-shattering. Jiang Chen's power had completely stabilized at the star level 9. These 9 couldn't shake him at all. Fighting 1 against 9, Jiang Chen still had some leeway. The 9 people's power was indeed extraordinary. To be able to work for the Zhou family, how could they be weak? This time, in order to be absolutely safe, Zhou Xian found 3 star level 9 experts to hold the fort. Now that both sides were in a stalemate, Zhou Xian frowned. What were these people doing? Still not ending the battle quickly? Zhou Xian roared. However, he didn't expect that these people were even more anxious than him. But did they really think that Jiang Chen was as weak as they said? If they could kill Jiang Chen, they would have done it long ago. Why wait until now? In the blink of an eye, tens of moves had passed. However, Jiang Chen was still undefeatable. And at this moment, the 9 experts seemed to be struggling. Jiang Chen was unruffled. These people weren't weak. It was a pity that they met him. For such an intense battle, it was just right for Jiang Chen. After all, there were still 3 star level 9 experts, right? He still had to give them some face. At this time, Jiang Chen's gaze was on Qianlu. Her strength was what Jiang Chen cared about. Although there was a gap between the two, Qianlu didn't disappoint him. Against Zhou Xian, who was stronger than him by a level, Qianlu instead fought bravely. This was what made Jiang Chen happy. Seeing that Qianlu was fine, it was time for him to stretch his muscles. At this time, Jiang Chen shook his head. The light in his eyes began to burn. The real battle had just begun. In that case, let me see just how capable you motley crew are. Jiang Chen sneered. With the heavenly dragon sword in his hand, the sword aura was like a hot knife through butter. The 9 experts didn't expect Jiang Chen to be so terrifying. 6 8th heavenly layer star realm experts couldn't even withstand Jiang Chen's attack. Even if the 6 of them joined forces, they could only match a 9th heavenly layer star realm expert. Moreover, Jiang Chen's attack was so powerful that it didn't give them any chance. Jiang Chen didn't have any distractions. The heavenly dragon sword came and went freely. The limitless sword was unruffled. In less than 10 moves, the 9 of them were completely pinned down by Jiang Chen. The 3 star level 9 experts were even more cautious. However, Jiang Chen's strength was too strong. They had never met such a terrifying expert before. After a series of crazy attacks, Jiang Chen wasn't injured at all. Moreover, Jiang Chen's heavenly dragon sword was extremely dazzling. They could only advance step by step. When they were injured by Jiang Chen's sword, they couldn't retaliate at all. The limitless sword began to provide Jiang Chen with the simplest and most brutal attack. Jiang Chen hadn't even used his true killer move, and these people were already retreating. Zhou Xian saw this scene and was completely dumbfounded. Jiang Chen was actually this insane? These people were the top experts of their Zhou clan. Could it be that they had to find their ancestor? Jiang Chen's strength alone swept through the universe, causing the 9 experts to fall into a desperate situation. They originally thought that the 9 of them were more than enough to kill Jiang Chen. However, they were now being pinned down instead. Zhou Xian was extremely anxious. If this continued, wouldn't he lose? More importantly, under Qianlu's continuous bombardment, he had fallen into a perilous situation. Damn it, I'm the Zhou clan's young master, yet I ended up like this. Did you guys not eat? A bunch of trash. Hurry up and kill him,